out. And of course Jimmy Neesham made a big contribution his first game, so that will give him confidence. He's very experienced, World Cup player for New Zealand, all-rounder. So we have not always, as you say, I agree with you, started as well as we'd like, but hopefully some players can get some confidence, and I'm sure they'll be happy to be back here at the Cloudfm County Ground, because we have all been starved of cricket over the last year or so, and it's just nice to be home. Got new lights.
I know.
Brand
I
new,
can see you now.
Brand new lights, so we can see the ball. We can see everything.
Yeah, no excuses.
The batsmen will be happy. They'll be able to see the ball. So they're world-class lights, fit for international cricket, and let's get the game on.
It was interesting, the composition of that Essex Eagles side. Jamie Porter and Sam Cook have proved themselves time and time again in the Championship and, of course, in the Bob Willis Trophy last season. They haven't, though, been given a real run out in T20. And Sam Cook in particular, Jamie bowled well, but Sam Cook, I think it was 3 for 14, was critical to that Essex win. Do you see a transformation for those two particular bowlers?
I think it's an opportunity for them, because they've been the staple diet of our bowling attack in Championships cricket, and they've contributed hugely towards those Championship wins. Sam Cook this year is having a brilliant season with the ball in the longer form game. I think he's bowled the third most overs in the competition, and he's got the wickets to match. So I think where it's an opportunity for them is they have the skills for that form of cricket. They have to prove that they can bowl with the white ball, because in white ball cricket, I think bowling is one of the most interesting things to watch in T20, because we know batsmen, are ultra aggressive. They put their foot down the wicket. If you pitch it up, it goes straight back over your head. If you pitch it short, they're on the attack straight away. So the bowler has to display a good range of skills. He has to be mentally strong. He has to be able to bowl under attack, so to speak. And he has to be able to read the batsman. So the skills of bowling the short ball, bowling the Yorker when it's required, bowling different types of slower balls, all comes into play. Now these guys, as we say, have got good skills in red ball cricket. Now they've got a chance to prove that they can play in this form of the game.
Well, we should talk about that a lot more, I'm sure, during the course of this game, because it is a very relevant piece of discussion, I think, at the moment, with the balance of bat and ball. But more of that later. Join us after this break as we get set for the Essex Eagles against the Hampshire Hawks. Welcome back. Well, as we've mentioned, the Eagles got off to a flying start in Taunton on Wednesday. A key component of that, of course, was Jimmy Neesham, and earlier on I got a chance to chat to the Kiwi international. Well, delighted to be joined by Essex Eagles' new signing, Jimmy Neesham. Jimmy, welcome to Chelmsford. Have you been to the Cloudfm County Ground before?
Yeah, I dropped in with Kent a couple of years ago, had a game. I think we came away with a win, so yeah, I'm 100% at the ground so far, so hopefully we can continue that today.
It's been a long while waiting to get back playing cricket. It must have been so eager to get on with it, and you did brilliantly, of course, at Taunton on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think any time you have a period away from the game, you're sort of itching to get back out there, and I had the IPL, which got curtailed early, obviously. Played one game over there, but haven't been playing a lot of cricket recently. So yeah, to come out and I suppose put a performance on the board straight away is pretty pleasing, and obviously most importantly to come away with a win first up is what you're looking for.
Early days, of course, but do you get used to having to integrate into a room full of strangers effectively? You've played in lots of different tournaments around the world, so do you get used to that new social aspect?
Yeah, it's something you get used to. Obviously, when you're a youngster, first starting to travel the world, you get a bit nervous around new environments and stuff. But I've played a lot of cricket over in England now, not only county cricket but also club cricket a couple of times. So I'm pretty well versed on how the lads go, and it's pretty easy. You come in, buy a couple of coffees, buy a couple of beers, and then everyone's your best mate straight away. So that's sort of the plan going in.
That's the plan. Well tried and trusted, of course.
Yeah.
Now, Hampshire tonight. You played against them on Monday, of course, in a sort of second team game, so may have a bit of an idea of what's coming. Building on Taunton is critical. We know how important momentum is in this tournament, so getting a second W is absolutely vital this evening.
Yeah, for sure. And we had a bit of success in those, I suppose, warm-up games last week, but they're just warm-up games. They don't indicate too much about how the actual game's going to go. So even though we had a good start the other night, we're a little bit untidy in a few areas, and as a team, we're certainly not getting carried away with that win. As you mentioned, it is only one win out of 14. So when you look at the whole tournament, probably 8 wins guarantees you a quarter-final spot. So one out of 8 is certainly nothing to get happy about. So we'll tick that game off and obviously look to improve again today.
Well, let's hope it continues. Last question. Boys got nicknames for you yet? I know the nicknames are flying. Have they come up with yours?
Yeah. Tom Wesley's trying hard to push Ed, because we found out that the XL helmet wasn't quite big enough to fit on, so I've got a large head, so Edward, Eddie's sort of going around the outfit a little bit, so...
We'll listen out.
Yeah.
Go well tonight, bud.
Thanks, mate.
Well, we're getting set here for this Vitality Blast T20 game this evening, joined by Graham Gooch. Graham, you just said to me, it's a small ground, there's going to be lots of 4s and 6s. That's what we're used to here, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of the smaller grounds on the circuit, and if you're a bowler here, they're the important ones here, because they're the ones who've got to control the score. They're the ones who've got to control the strike rate, and if you look at modern T20 cricket, the players all talk about strike rates. They're not really interested in averages. It's what their strike rate. They like their strike rate to be above 150. So the bowlers are not just supplying the sort of ammunition, the balls for these guys. They're the ones that can make the difference. That's why the big bucks are paid in the IPL, the Big Bash in Australia, for bowlers who can take wickets, be slightly different, have good variation. Leg spinners, certainly worth their weight in gold. Adil Rashid, he's been one of England's best bowlers in one-day cricket. Adam Zampa, who played here for the Eagles, he's done well recently for Australia and in the Big Bash. So these type of bowlers are valuable because they've got just a little bit of mystery about them, and that's what you need in T20, because you know the batters are going to come at you. They are not going to be content to push ones. They're looking for boundaries. So if you take wickets and you control partnerships, or stop the partnerships, then you're likely to keep the score below something like 150, which any captain will be happy with, chasing 150.
How the game has changed. Spinners being cricket's rock stars. Who would have thought? Let's take a look at the lineups. We'll start with our visitors, the Hampshire Hawks. Here's the record luck-in team sheet for the visitors. 14, the captain, James Vince. Wearing 21, their new Australian import, Darcy Short. 9, Tom Alsop. 5, Joe Weatherly, keep an eye on him this evening. 8 is Liam Dawson, spinning all-rounder. 26, James Fuller, another all-rounder. 18, the wicket-keeper, Lewis McManus. 22 is Ian Holland. 25, the left-armer, Chris Wood. 32, Mason Crane, aforementioned leg spinner. And last but not least, another South African, Brad Wheel, wearing 58. Well, you talked about leg spinners. Mason Crane has enjoyed himself when he's coming. I think the last 2 occasions he's had a 3-for in this format. Is he one that catches your eye? I know he's maybe catch England selectors' eyes.
Eagles fan, you don't want him to catch your eye too much tonight. But as I said, leg spin is an integral part of T20 cricket, in terms of every team wants a wrist spinner, because it just gives them an extra split second of time, for the batsman to make the decision on what they're going to try and do with the ball, whether it's a quicker ball, a flipper, a googly. So he's had a go at international cricket. He'd like to establish himself. I mean, as I said, Adil Rashid has done brilliantly for England and been a fixture in the one-day side for England. But he can impress by playing against the Essex Eagles. If he does well, he can win the game. And a good spell of bowling, good 4 overs, takes wickets, keep the score down a little bit. He'll be one of the danger men the Eagles have got to be worried about.
Mason Crane, one of the key components then of the Hawks side. Let's take a look now at the Essex Eagles lineup. So the record luck-in team sheet for the home side begins with number 21, Tom Wesley. Number 9, Will Buttleman, making his debut in this format of the competition. 19, Michael Pepper. 22, Big Paul Walter. Wearing 27, he's still going, Ryan Tendescarter. 50, the new man, Jimmy Neesham. Wearing 11, Simon Harmer, the skip. 77, Jack Plom. 24, Aaron Nijar. And 16, Sam Cook. Wearing 44, Jamie Porter. Well, the eye is naturally drawn to the new man. Will Buttleman makes his T20 debut here. Exciting times for that young man from Brentwood.
Absolutely. He's made good progress in the Essex second team. I think he got 100 in a T20 second team game against Hampshire this week, actually. He'll be keeping wicket. Sad that Adam Wheat is not playing. But I was quite interested in that team sheet. Will Butterman, Michael Pepper, Paul Walter, Aaron Nijar. These are all young Essex cricketers who you're seeing the next generation of players who are going to take over for maybe in a few years' time, hopefully from some of our more experienced players, like Ryan Tendescarter. He's been a great servant to Essex. He's got a few more years left in him yet, but he's past 40, and I know what it's like to play when you're past 40. He's still got something to offer, but I'm really excited about seeing those guys. Big opportunity for Will Butterman. He's been vying as the reserve keeper with Michael Pepper, backing up Adam Wheater, but this is a chance to show what he can do on the bigger stage. So good luck to all those young guys.
Well, we shall watch with fascination as this match opens up. But first, we are going to get a moment of unity amongst both teams as they stand against discrimination in all forms of sport, in all forms of life. This is something that all teams in cricket now want to do. Of unity amongst Hampshire and Essex, and indeed the cricket fraternity in the battle against discrimination. So we're set. Get the beverage of your choice ready, get the comfortable seat. We are getting set for Essex Eagles against Hampshire Hawks. Here is the coin toss and the teams as they set out. On the back. So there's Jimmy Neesham getting set for his home debut here in Chelmsford. James Vince, the Hunt skipper. Such a key character and a key producer of runs really for the Hawks. Wherever he's played, the Molten Sultans, of course Sydney Sixers won the Big Bash with them again this season. So absolutely vital from the visitors' perspective that he gets himself settled and sets the table really for the way that they want to work tonight. Aaron Najjar is going to open the bowling once again, no surprise there. A beautiful evening. It's slightly breezy. And Vince goes straight on the attack, slams it through the covers. Well, there's a statement of intent if ever there was one, Graham.
Well, this is a typical T20, isn't it? I mean, the batsmen don't have a look at the ball at all. He's, you know, with a shot like that, James Vince coming down the wicket, and playing the big cover drive, you know, he's made that decision. It's premeditated shot.
34 off 30 against Kent on Wednesday. Najjar just dropping it short so that he can't get his arms free.
I mean, it's a bit of a, I wouldn't say it's a risk opening with a spinner on this ground, but of course at the Hayes close end, it's an extremely short boundary.
Dot ball, thankfully for Najjar, going straight to Wesley. Mention the weather, and there is a breeze, and if anything it's going towards that scoreboard, so over Najjar's left shoulder, if you will.
Yeah, I mean that's the general where the weather comes from here. It comes from London, the southwest, and when it rains that comes over where we're sitting actually.
Again, Nijar ties up the Hawks skipper.
Yeah, I mean, Nijar's a left-arm spinner, as we can see. You know, he's not a big spinner of the ball, and he seems to drift the ball into the right-hander's patch, which is sometimes pretty good in one-day cricket.
Well, he'll be happy with that start, as will Simon Harmer. Just 4 off the first over.
Yep, as I said, he's drifting the ball into the right-hander's pads, and he's trying to cramp him up. That's what his style's got to be, not giving James Vinks, the right-hander, the chance to free his arms and to get the bat through. He will come under attack, and the Essex Eagles' normal plan is to take Nijar off now from the Hayes close end and then bowl one of the seamers, probably Sam Cook, and that's the tactic nowadays in T20 cricket. You don't really bowl bowlers for more than 2 overs maximum. You mix it up and just keep the batsman guessing. So
and having to restart as a consequence, I suppose.
Well, in theory, but you know, let's be fair, they're all going to play a similar way anyway.
Yeah.
You know, they don't really take time to get the pace of the wicket or get to see what the bowler's doing. Generally, the white ball nowadays doesn't swing around very much, and that's why their ability to hit through the line is so good.
Jamie Porter getting the second over. Bowling to the new Australian import, Darcy Short. I say new, of course he's had a couple of years, quite successful years at Durham. Another Aussie international.
Well, we see lots of, you know, international players in our cricket now, and with T20 you get lots of imports who just play this format of the game.
Well, Short's gone high. Walter's trying to get back under it. And with the dive, well, nobody's going to make a bigger dive than Paul Walter. Just not unable to get his hands underneath that one. That's a life for Darcy Short.
Yeah, it's a tough catch, going back at mid-wicket, the ball going high over your shoulder. That's the worst type of catch for any fielder. You've got to make the ground. You've got to keep your eye on the ball. And I wouldn't say Paul Walter's the quickest across the turf, but he made a brilliant effort in trying to get that. So a bit of a life there, as you say, for Darcy Short. But
and the direction of the wind that I mentioned not helping Walter on that occasion. It was just drifting away from him all the time. Porter into Vince.
Well, you're right there, really. I mean, you know, if you're a smart batsman, generally over the years, you always try and hit with the wind and not against the wind, because it could just hold up on the edge of the boundary and you look a bit silly. So if you hit downwind, it's normally a safe bet.
Bring your own kite just to check out.
But as we were saying, this is where the bowler's got to be smart. He's got to be mixing up slower balls, the odd Yorker, the odd heavy length.
Vince going to push back for the second. Plum's throw accurate, but not going to restrict the visitors on that occasion.
Now, I know the Hampshire Hawks here had a poor season in T20 last year, finishing bottom of the South Group, but generally in one-day cricket down the years, Hampshire have been a strong side, reaching many finals, you know, in the 50 overs and going to the latter part of the T20 competition.
Yeah, they won this tournament twice, 2010 and 2012. Vince goes heavy, slams it through cowshot corner. Doesn't matter, still a 4-ball. And that's what the Hawks were looking for from their skipper. Yeah, 2 titles, of course, 2010, 2012. Won the one day of the 50 over tournament not so long ago either. But, well, both teams, of course, only won 2 games in their campaigns last season.
Porter getting away with a short ball there. But Vince's style really is to advance down the wicket. It's not going to be a quick wicket. This is for the viewers, this is what they call a hybrid pitch. This is a pitch which is a combination of normal grass and an artificial grass, which we use for practice here at the Cloudfm County Ground, and it is used around the country as well. So they're used for practice wickets, but they're also used for one-day cricket as well. They perform pretty well. They last longer. I think there's going to be 3 matches on this one pitch.
Right.
And they have a bit more bounce than a normal wicket. So I think this is what you're going to see the way forward in one-day cricket in this country.
If you sense a sharp intake of breath, I suggest it's probably Mr. and Mrs. Plom watching their son about to bowl the third over.
Well, it was a tough start the other day, and I mean, I watched a bit of it on TV, and he did put, in cricketing parlance, the ball on the tee at the beginning.
Well, that was a flip over the top from short, not where he intended though. And Plum's first ball goes for 4. Yeah, 33 off that third over. Credit to him though, Graham. He came back. Well, and that's the test, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not whether you get knocked down or not. In this format of the cricket, you are going to get knocked down quite a lot. It's how you stand up and fight back, and he fought back well. You know, it was a traumatic first over, and he's a bit unlucky there because he's bowled a good heavy length ball, and Darcy Short's got a sort of thick edge over the wicketkeeper's head.
And then got the icing on the cake of hitting the winning 6 right at the end. I suppose there was an irony to that. But, yeah, Plum showed really well in returning, I think, the 17th and that last over, didn't he? Bowled, was given the last over. And that says something about what Simon Harmer thinks of the young man as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he deserved that because last year, in his first season of this form of cricket, he showed really well. He showed he had character. He showed he had some skills. He's still a very young man, and he's still obviously got to evolve himself as a cricketer. So it was a very good start last year. So, you've got to be brave in this form of the game.
Harmer in at first slip. Yes, he showed well in the few appearances he had in this tournament last season. 7 wickets in just the 5 appearances, an economy of 7.74, which is not bad. The way that this game works now.
I don't know what's a good rate. I suspect under 8 is not a bad rate. Actually.
Single figures, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're not far off. Single figures, you'll be happy with. I mean, ideally as a bowler, if you can somehow go for 6 singles and over, that would be absolutely perfect. But as I say, I think that's one of the most interesting parts of T20 cricket, the skill of the bowler in terms of how he plans the over. Am I going to bowl a short ball? Am I going to bowl a slower ball? Is this ball going to be the Yorkshire? Because you know that the batsman is going to attack the ball, you know.
You mentioned that second team T20 game on Monday. I was talking to John Farrier, the Essex chairman, about this very thing, about how you've got to try and make bowling a little more sexier in many ways, make it more understandable. With the batsman, you can see it goes for 4s and 6s and the crowd love it. But you've got to try and educate and find a better understanding of what they're doing. Maybe it's a closer up angle of the deliveries so we can see what they did with their fingers as they released it. The intricacies of bowling rather than just the blatant get the ball down the other end. And that's a good over from Plum.
It's well, a fantastic over there, 5 off the over. Anyone would settle for that. He's bowled a good heavy length. And I think also in T20 cricket and one-day cricket in general, the Yorker is still the percentage ball generally. There are players who can play the ramp shot now, the little flip over a square leg or over even third man area, over slips. They're few and far between though, but if you can get the ball in the block hole, it does restrict the batsman. So you've got to have that skill in your locker. You've got to be able to get it up there when necessary. And it's not a case of just bowling Yorkers when you've been hit. You've got to try and put the Yorker in early because that's a potential wicket-taking ball. If someone's looking to try and hit you back over your head and be an ultra-aggressive, they might hit over the top of it. So you've got to have all those skills. And I agree with you. I mean, they should be highlighted because no one's going to want to be a bowler in this form of cricket if you keep disappearing out the ground.
Sam Cook on at the river end. Vince does advance. Pardon.
Yeah, he comes down the wicket. I mean, he's decided that the pace of the bowler is not. Sometimes you want a bit more pace on the ball, and Porter, Plum, Cook are not the quickest bowlers, around, and they vary their pace. So he's decided. You can see that he's going to walk down the wicket controlled and try and target the sort of wide, long area in the area of the river over there.
Cook dropped short, but there's a man back here, plumb at deep square. I just think as an entertainment as well, Graham, it has to have more explanation of what the bowlers are trying to do. We can see it with the batsmen, it's more blatant. Yeah. But maybe it just needs, I don't know, on using the big screen and what it is, but it needs some way of transmitting those skills that the bowlers have got. Oh, it's a nice pull shot from short. Stand and deliver shot in many ways, but it was there for him and he took full advantage of it.
Well, you're a bit of a baseball aficionado, and that was very much a shot in the baseball mode. You know, the ball was short of a length, like the namesake there, Darcy Short, and he just was on the front foot really, and he just drove it over mid-wicket. Not a lot the bowler could do there.
He'd be on third base now, that's for sure. Cook's come back. Oh, Short does it again. Well,
yeah, that's a poor ball in my view. You know, Sam Cook, as we said, he's a length and line bowler generally, and I think his variations and his change-up has got to be slower balls. See if he can bowl the Yorker. I don't think he can afford to bowl short like that last ball, and that was an easy put away for the batsman. He hasn't got the pace to bowl that. But, you know, also you've got to have character. You've got to hold your nerve as a player, because anything can happen the next ball, as we saw at Taunton.
Well, Cook's tightened it up a lot more on that one.
I mean, I think on Wednesday at Taunton, if I remember, 50 was posted by the Somerset openers in 3 overs.
Yeah, less.
And then they lost 3 wickets for 11 runs. So, you know, you've got to hold your nerve. And sometimes it's difficult to hold your nerve because the ball's flying everywhere. It's going to all parts of the ground. But you've got to be resolute. You've got to be strong.
Yes, it was this 4th over, of course, that Cook took 2 wickets. Again, Darcy Short tees off, but this time straight to Paul Walter, and that's a better looking over from the visitors' perspective.
And as you were alluding to about the skill of the bowler, the one thing on these type of pitches, a decent pitch in this format of the game, the one thing the bowler has in his armoury is surprise and change of pace. That's all he's got sometimes, because these white balls don't really swing around like the red ball does. These pitches do not seem that much. Occasionally it will do, depending on the ground. But generally, you've got to show change of pace. Change up, the Yorker, back of the hand, off cutter. You know, all these balls have got to come into it because you've got to deceive the batsman.
Vince goes long again. That's proving to be a very beneficial area for both Hampshire batsmen thus far.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid the mid-wicket area is a favourite area in T20 cricket because the ball's short of a length, even on a length. The batsmen, you know, a la baseball, as we said, put their foot down the wicket and they hit through the line with a cross bat, and that was a well-struck shot. So I expect to see quite a lot of these during this evening.
Again, the bowler tightens things up. You look at the record of James Vince. Only Alex Hales has scored more runs in major domestic leagues in the last couple of years. Vince, of course, I mentioned the Sydney Sixers. He's had 2 titles in the Big Bash with them. He's played in various other leagues. And when you've got that sort of momentum coming from your opener, then everybody else can follow on. Porter goes very short. Yeah, back of the hand, I would guess, from his action.
It was a slower ball there, and it was a good bit of bowling. You know, he's thinking about it. Going back to James Vince quickly in between balls, you know, to keep getting gigs in franchise cricket around the world, like the Big Bash, you've got to be successful because it's a ruthless business. If you're not successful, they just cut you from the roster and they sign someone else. So for him to keep going back there and playing, it shows that the measure of the player.
Hooking through that one. Has he got enough of that? No, cut off down on the far side by Michael Pepper. Yeah, because ultimately cricket is a numbers game.
Yeah, I mean, in longer form cricket, you might stick with someone for a bit longer, and hopefully they're going to come good, and you give them time to develop, etc., etc. Even if they have an off patch. But in T20 cricket franchise where owners are paying the money and stuff like that, it's quite ruthless. If you're not successful, you get cut.
Well, Porter again tries to drop the pace, but in doing so just sets it up for Vince to slam it through point. 22 off 19 now for the Hawk skip.
Yeah, he's getting the measure of the bowler here and the pace of the pitch. That was a slower ball again from Jamie Porter, trying to mix it up. And, you know, sometimes you're lucky in those sort of shots. Good cut shot, but it hits the fielder. Sometimes it doesn't. But I'm sure Simon Harmer will be, you know, changing his bowlers around regularly.
Five overs gone. Hampshire 37 for naught, so 7.4 run rate. Well, maybe Simon Harmer will be the slightly happier of the two captains when we've seen what these power plays can go for.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a lot worse. And things could change. You know, you put 2 wickets onto that score and it looks a little bit different. I mean, I don't think Hampshire would be too alarmed because you can up the rate easy if you've got wickets in hand. The players are, you know, ultra aggressive, as we've said. They look to target and keep their strike rate up all the time. And we're seeing a Yorker, or attempted Yorker there from Sam Cook, which is good bowling, you know, not waiting to see, you know, after he's been hit for 4, then bowling a Yorker. You've got to get it in early, and sometimes you've got to get 2 or 3 maybe in early. But I think your composure as a player in this form of cricket, as I said, you've got to hold your nerve. You've got to be resilient because you're going to come under heavy fire occasionally.
Vince has gone. Well, the shot that's produced so many runs for the Hampshire captain thus far doesn't find the boundary this time. It only finds the hands of Aaron Nijar, and the first wicket is down for Hampshire.
So James Vince targeting that deep mid-wicket area. Good captaincy from Simon Harmer. He's got his fielder Aaron Nijar on the circle, 30 metres back or whatever it is, and that's gone straight to him. Good catch by Nijar, jumping above his head. And as we said, that's the favourite area for batsmen in this form of the game. You know, taking the ball over mid-wicket off the length. Didn't look like he got hold of that. So, and that's a big wicket for the Eagles because Vince is a tried and tested player on the world stage. He's supplied match-winning scores, hundreds and big scores in this form of the game. So that's a good scalp for Sam Cook, and I'm sure they'll be pleased to see the back of him.
Yeah, Vince, the 4th highest all-time run scorer in the Vitality Blast, and those figures just show the value of the Hampshire captain to his side. Now Tom Alsop comes in at 3, in for Sam Northeast. Interesting from a captaincy, what should we say, a template, a bowling template. I'm looking back at the game at Taunton, and Harmer has used exactly the same bowlers in the first 6 overs. I guess if it ain't broke.
Well, I mean, you could say that they have a plan to use certain bowlers in that plan. But of course, obviously, if someone gets carted a bit, then they might have to change that plan. You've got to be flexible.
Nice late cut from Alsop, but it only gets him the 1 run.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be flexible with your bowling because you just don't know what's going to happen. So a certain player might come in before you think, and you might want to bowl more spin at him than pace, and vice versa. So there's all sorts of variations.
But does that suggest that the captain feels that he's in control thus far of the power play, the way it's played out so far?
Yeah, I mean, the power plays, obviously the first 6 overs is crucial because the batsmen go after it, you know, before the field spreads out a little bit. So you've got your set plan there, and hopefully if you can stick to that, that helps as things go on. That's the second Yorker Cook's bowled in this over, which I think, you know, it's good planning.
Well, that is a very successful over for the Essex Eagles. And Sam Cook will be delighted with getting that return, having given a few runs in that first over, come back with a vengeance. 1 for 10 now off his 2.
Yeah, he'll be very happy with that. 2 overs, 1 for 10. 5 off each over, averaging 5 and over. That's good bowling. I mean, it can all change around when you come to bowl the last 2 or whenever they're going to be. But certainly, that's a good start. So the game, I mean, the game's got a long way to go yet, but I think the Eagles will be happy with this start. It's not been too dramatic, the scoring rate, and the Hawks will know that they've got to up the ante.
Najjar back into the mix. Pepper comes across and releases the ball quickly, but there's an easy 2 there for Allsop coming back. Nice looking sweep shot, and that is a classy shot from short. Beautiful sweep for 4.
Well, that's a classic sweep shot. No risk in that. Foot outside off stump, just putting it behind square.
Najjar goes straighter and fuller, but the ball still goes for 4. 2 4s from the bat of short.
2 classic shots. Najjar probably doing the right thing, trying to get the ball right up there after a sweep shot, and just getting onto the drive of Darcy Short and hitting it powerfully on this short boundary.
Darcy Short managed 29 off 19 in that game against Kent before he fell victim to a certain Darren Stevens. Still going, can you believe it?
He's got a few this year.
Well, that was his, apparently it was his first T20 wickets for 4 years or something. But you're right, because his form in the county championship has been astounding.
Well, he has. I mean, he's already got himself another 3-year contract, isn't he? That's right. I mean, he must be aiming to play at 50 years of age, I'd have thought.
Stay fit, why not? Reverse sweep from Allsop. Almost came off the toe of the bat by the looks of the way that squirted out, but gets him a couple of runs, and that's a good over from a Hampshire perspective to take them past the 50.
Yep, 50 in 7 overs, 7 and over. Pretty much, as I say, the other spinner now, Captain Simon Harmer's coming on from the river end. Simon, as we know, his feats in red ball cricket are legendary over the last 5 years or so. One-day cricket, leading Essex to their first ever T20 title in 2019. Sometimes his style of bowling is, I'd say, this is not his best format. Obviously, he's more of an attacking bowler. And of course, you're trying to get wickets here, but you're trying to keep the score down as well. It's not the same style of bowling for a spinner. Simon likes to give the ball air, and he likes to, deceive the batsman in the flight, which is good in this form of cricket, but obviously has a bit of a risk, of course, because they're going to come after it. He is bowling to the longer boundary end, and that's something that's quite noticeable here, Simon, is that we are playing pretty much the whole ground here at the Cloudfm County Ground. Normally there's people sitting in front of the pavilion.
Oh, he's got him. Straight through Tom Allsop's defences. 2 balls, and the Essex captain has taken a wicket.
Well, he's been a wicket taker for the Essex Eagles and the Essex 4-day side constantly over the last few years, and he struck again. That looked like a quicker ball to me. His slider, what they call the slider, he doesn't try and spin it, pushes it through, and it's gone straight through Allsop, knocked the leg stump back, and that's good for the Essex Eagles and not good for the Hampshire Hawks, because you don't want to let partnerships develop. You want to keep knocking the partnerships over, so players have to get themselves in a little bit, and that slows the scoring rates, slows the strike rates, and that's how you control the score to something manageable. So, good start for Simon Harmer.
Do you think captaincy has helped his bowling, Graham?
I think he's a senior cricketer. I think he's an experienced cricketer from a lot of cricket in South Africa and a lot of experience gained here over the last few years. And I think you want to be captain. You need to want to be captain. You want to lead the side. You want to impart your knowledge and have the side play in the way you want them to play. So yeah, I think he's done well. As I say, you know, for his style of bowling, it's quite contrasting because generally he's a wicket taker in the longer form cricket, which is a different style to what you need in this sort of format. But that's a good start for him.
Joe Weatherly getting his start. 24-year-old has been in impressive form of recent. Hit 37 in that Canterbury game, but you look at his form of last season, 185 runs. There was only one batsman, I think, James Fuller, who got over 200 runs for the Hawks last season, but he's looks to be an impressive young man. Darcy Short going to take a very easy single out to the leg side.
Yeah, that last ball that Simon Harmer bowled quicker, in short of a length, in at the stumps, you know, he's the sort of staple diet for a spinner in this form of cricket. Trying to not let the batsman get on the front foot so they can attack.
Full bunger this time, and that's a gift for Weatherly.
Yeah, he's disappointed with that ball. He's probably attempted Yorker as a full toss.
Well, what's his comeback? Last ball of his first over. Just loading the offside slightly more. Manages to get the dot ball. So a good start from the Essex captain. Essex taking 2 wickets in 2 overs now.
And while they're changing in, just a little snapshot back to when Essex Eagles won the T20 in 2019, going to Edgbaston for the final. They produced the biggest turn in wicket that I've seen, you know, for a final or in any match at Edgbaston, and it was absolutely perfect for Simon Harmer.
And didn't he enjoy it?
Well, exactly, because, you know, he was turning the ball square, which made him almost impossible to play.
Yeah.
And you know, he must have turned up thinking, God, all my Christmases has come at once here.
Well, and of course Aaron Nijar, I think, played his first T20 game in those finals
days. Did very well.
Did really well, didn't he? Sam Cook back into the mix for his 3rd over. Oh, has he got the top edge there? Yes, he has. Well, Darcy Short is not happy with that call. I think Graham Lloyd at this end, well, presumably must have heard something. Let's have a look.
Well, it's a attempted bumper from Sam Cook. Plan. He's gone for the hook shot. Looks like it might have clipped his gloves. Impossible to tell from where we're sitting. Will Butterman takes the catch.
His first catch.
And
yep.
that's a big wicket. Short's gone. Butterman bowled Cook for 26. And, you know, there's another player who's got in. And now he's going back to the pavilion. So another new player. He's got 2 guys at the crease who've just come in. And that's what you want as a fielding side. Not sure Darcy Short quite agreed with the decision, but, you know, it's impossible to tell from here. But Sam Cook mixing it up, you know, first ball of his new spell, short ball. I think that's what you need to do. Just be a little bit unpredictable in T20 bowling. You know, the Essex Eagles bowlers have not got great pace, so they have to be smart, they have to be clever, and they have to mix it up.
Well, we talk about momentum in the fielding team. That's 3 consecutive overs that the Eagles have taken a wicket, and that's why that scoreboard has a very different feel on it now. 59 for 3. Liam Dawson, the new man in.
Another England international who was on loan with Essex Cricket, Essex Eagles, a few years back.
Was he? Of course, he was part of the England group, wasn't he, that won the World Cup?
I can't remember which year it was. I'd say about 5 years ago. He came to Essex. He was on loan because he couldn't get in the Hampshire side, and he come played a few games. He looked a pretty good cricketer, and they took him back, and then his career went on the up, and he's represented England a few times as a all-rounder, left-arm spinner, all-rounder.
Dawson, of course, had that horrible injury last season that kept him out for the majority of the action. I think it was at Radlett in the Bob Willis Trophy, I think. And yeah, he was sorely missed.
So the Essex Eagles now have got to try and capitalise on this position where two new Hampshire Hawks batsmen are at the crease. They've got to keep it tight, make them work for every run, try and eat up some balls.
Again, Cook goes short. Awkward fielding on that side. I think it's Pepper out there with the shades on because the sun is really coming straight at you when the ball is huzzing towards you at pace. It's not an easy pickup over there in front of the Felsted School stand. He'll be having to keep his concentration right now. Cook to Weatherly. Fuller, straight up. Variety again.
Yep, he's got the ball right up there. He can't get underneath the ball to try and hit it over the top. But, you're in that sort of situation for the Hawks batsman here where I don't really want to do anything reckless here. I don't want to take too many chances. We're already 3 down. If suddenly we end up at 80 for 5, remarkable figures in T20 cricket.
Pretty much the same as he had on Wednesday. He had, well, it was 3 for 14. There was a lot of, actually talking about that, there was a lot of wonderment as to why Cook didn't end up bowling out all 4 overs, especially when it was Jack Plum who came on, did a great job in the end as it turned out. But that's the confidence of Harmer, of not going for the obvious necessarily.
Well, I think the captain, you have to make that call at the time of what you think's the best option, and obviously it has, some people see it differently to others. He has to make the call.
Jar invites Dawson to drive. Run rate now falling underneath 7 and over. And having got through that power play as well, it's looks like advantage Essex from that point of view.
Yeah, Simon Harmer ringing the changes. Nija coming on from the river end now and taking himself off after 1 over, so he's not letting the batsman settle.
And no signs of Jimmy Neesham yet either. Perfect field placement from the captain.
And as I said, Nija's style is to dart the ball in at the pads, really, of the right-hand batsman. Cramp him up, not let him get his arms through. Just the fielders have got to be aware, so they stop 2. I mean, fielding has been amazing since the introduction of T20 cricket, some 18 years ago in the UK, 2003. It's when it first hit our grounds.
Do you remember what you thought of it back then, Graham? Before it had been played?
We played lots of 40-over cricket, lots of rain-affected matches, 20 overs, 10 overs, so we weren't not used to it. But
20 overs was what schools played, what offices played after work, all that stuff.
Yeah, I did for Ilford against Brentwood, I think, 20-over cricket, when I was a colt with Ilford.
Oh, just fell short. No.
It looked like a chance there. Dawson trying to turn the ball on the leg side. He's got a leading edge. It's popped back to Nija. He couldn't quite make the ground, could he? Needed another step to get his fingers under the ball on the pitch.
Looked like a Crawley moment there. Anybody that was watching the test match today from Edgbaston? Good to see, mentioning Edgbaston, good to see Dan Lawrence get his highest test score this morning, especially after that shot he got out to at Lord's.
Well, he's that sort of player, isn't he? I mean, he takes the odd risk. He's a little bit unorthodox starter. And, when he gets out sometimes in the way he plays, it doesn't look great. But one thing the boy's got in abundance, he's got character. He's got good temperament. He's a fighter. And, once he gets into a bit of a battle out there and batting with, shepherding the tail of England today, he relished that and he showed his qualities. And I think back end of the Indian tour in that last test, and this match, you know, he showed what he can do.
Cook bowling his last over, but dropping that short, and Dawson pouncing on it.
Yeah, that looked like a slower ball to me, Simon, slower, but he dropped it short, and it was just an easy put away for Dawson down to the scoreboard in that corner of the ground. So last over, Sam Cook wants to finish strongly. He's got 3 overs, 3.1 overs, 2 for 17 at the moment. He'll be settling for some singles here. If he can get another 5 singles, he'll be really happy with that.
I'll be happy with that dot ball.
But I think he's, you know, as we talked in the pre-show before the match, that, you know, these guys are evolving themselves. You know, they're learning their trade. That they've got a trade in longer form cricket, which they're still developing because they're young. Poulter, Cook, but you know, they've got to develop what they can do, what they can't do. You know, how to read the game. That's important.
Goes short again, but an easy hook that time from Dawson.
Yeah, you can see he's mixing it up. You know, he's gone for a Yorker. He's gone for 2 short balls. He's being that little bit unpredictable, which is, you know, good to see, and just keeps the batsman guessing. Doesn't mean they're not going to put the balls away, because we know, you know, in T20 cricket that they're looking for 4s and 6s, and quite rightly so.
No 6s at all yet in this Hampshire innings as we move into the second half of it.
Tempting fate, Simon, aren't you?
Well, we got Dawson. No, I was going to say he was going to head over this way, but we're behind glass this time. So, and you're going to catch it anyway, because the cat-like instincts are still there. Yeah, nice slower ball from Cook. Yeah, the single came from it, but again, that variety from the young Chelmsford bowler.
Yeah, well, that shows he's thinking about it. It's intelligent bowling. Doesn't mean you're guaranteed to, you know, keep the scoring rate down, but you can see he's thinking about it. He's had Yorkers in this over, a good slower ball. He's had a short ball, you know, a slower short ball, which didn't work, but nevertheless, at the moment, 1 ball to go, 20 off his 3.5. He'd be happy with that.
Well, 4 overs, 2 for 21. Creditable return again from Sam Cook, following up that 3 for 14. $73 for 3 now, the Hawks. The battle of the birds this evening.
Absolutely.
The newly rebranded Hampshire side.
Now, what is, I assume the eagle is bigger than the hawk, is it?
I'm not going there. I am not going there. I would think so, but yeah, I'll tell you in about 2 hours' time. Najjar is going to finish his bowling spell as well. Joe Weatherly, the man. Looking for that little dabble round the corner.
Weatherly gone for the sweep there. Very full ball from Najjar. Probably missing. Well, if he's not straightening the ball, his leg's either going to be outside, off stump, or he's probably missing leg. But quite a good ball from Najjar, right up in the block hole, and that's where he needs to put it in this last over.
Dropped short, but he's got away with that one.
And he's bowled that ball slower, isn't he? So again, another one. He's been playing, you know, for a year and a bit now in this form of the cricket. So he looks like he's shown improvement as well.
Well, it's confidence, isn't it, of the belief in you can do it and what you can do. I mean, Aaron Najjar, what is he, 26 years of age now? But really, he knows his skipper believes in him. He knows his coach believes in him, and he's producing the goods.
Well, that's a very good point you've brought up, Simon. The bowler needs to know that the captain has belief in, you know, trusts him, because a bowler can tell straight away if the captain don't rate him and don't fancy him to do the job.
And he can tell from the field that he's set for it as well. The field's working very well at the moment.
Well, at the moment, Nija's got one ball to go. He's going for singles. You know, the Hampshire Hawks batsmen, Dawson and Weatherly, are trying to up the ante now. They're trying to be more aggressive, quite rightly. They need to post a total.
Well, like Cook, Nijjar gets a very healthy return. No wickets, perhaps, but 0 for 23 off his 4 to go under 6 and over. A very creditable performance from the young left-armer.
Well, better than that, I would say. You know, 23. I mean, you bowl your 4 overs for 23 nowadays, you're going to be really happy. Less than a run a ball. So Simon Harmer used up 2 of his bowlers. Neesham has not had a bowl yet. So we'll see how he's going to permutate his bowlers. Cook, looks like Walter's going to have a bowl. He's bringing him on now, which is an interesting choice. Because Paul Walter's bowling has been, well, should we say, a little bit unpredictable over the last few years. He started off as a bowler, looked very promising, had a lot of pace. His batting's come on strong, and he's done very well in Championship cricket last year when he was introduced to that, and this year his bowling's taken a little bit more of a back seat. I think the Essex Eagles and Essex cricket in general would like to see him bowl more and become that sort of batting all-rounder, maybe to eventually take over from someone like Ryan Tenduskar in that role. So we'll see what happens here.
And that's where the introduction of somebody like Neesham could be very beneficial for somebody like Paul Walter, learning from an international all-rounder. Who knows?
Absolutely.
His first ball dropped short.
Well, I didn't have any pace on that ball, and you know, when I've seen Paul bowl over the last few years in one-day cricket, T20 mainly, he's bowled a lot of cutters. He's run his fingers across the ball a lot of the time. And, you know, I think confidence is a big part for him. He's got to believe that he can do the job with the ball. So Harmer's trusted him here, and that's good to see for a young player.
Changing the tempo, once again, the pace,
well,
ultimately beating Weatherly.
Well, lack of pace.
Or lack of pace,
Lack of pace, and he's not trying to bowl that into the pitch. He's bowling almost like a left-arm spinner there, like a quick off-cutter there, taking the pace off it. And I assume he's doing that because he's more confident bowling that ball than trying to hold the seam up and trying to hit the pitch with the ball.
And coming around the wicket immediately as well would seem to indicate that further.
Well, as we said in the pre-show about leg spinners, you know everyone likes a wrist spinner in T20 cricket. Also, left armers are very popular in T20 and one-day cricket because there's a different angle, they present a different problem. The left armer often bowls round the wicket like we're seeing now, and it presents a different angle for the right-hand batsman in particular and can cramp the batsman up, so they're sometimes very invaluable.
Goes a full bunger there, but gets away with that one. I can't remember. I'm thinking back. Essex left armers, JK, of course, probably the most famous one. Mark Eilert. They didn't. I don't remember them bowling around the wicket that much, did they?
Overseas player when I was coach of Essex, Scott Brandt.
Oh yeah.
Who was a Zimbabwean but lived in Queensland.
Right. But the majority of those, I remember bowling left arm.
Conventional.
Conventional, yes.
Like Trent Bolt, you know, stand the seam up, swing it into the right-handers' pads, get LBWs, that sort of thing. John Lever was a very good, brilliant one-day bowler for Essex in 40-over cricket, in 55, 60-over cricket in those days. But Paul Walter, to me, looks like he's not full of confidence with his bowling. He's a big lad, and he's not bowled a bad over, but he's going to go for about 10 off this over.
It's going to be 11 with that second one, but, well, OK. It's interesting trial from Simon Harmer. He's going to bring himself back on now from the river end.
I don't know what he's planning here, Simon Harmer, here, because we bowled 13 overs now in this Hampshire Hawks first innings, 7 to go. So Walter's come on for his first over. Harmer's got three left. Neesham and Porter can bowl. Not sure I'd be over happy if I was a bowler like Neesham and then I'm going to come on and bowl my first overs right at the end. That's a big ask, if you ask me. If you've bowled beforehand,
pay the big bucks, mate.
well, maybe, but you know, when you coming on to ask, you know, you bowl your first overs right at the end when the the slog's on right at the death. That's quite tough, I would say. You know, generally you want to bowl one over at least earlier.
Well, Weatherly getting a leading edge on that and just flying over the head of Najjar.
Well, the Hampshire Hawks will be getting quite restless, I reckon, in their change room. They've got to up the ante because they need to improve the scoring rate.
What would their target be now with 7 overs left, do you reckon?
Well, 7 overs.
7 wickets left.
Yeah, they've got plenty of wickets. You know, they'd be wanting to get, 10 and over, 12 and over is going to take them up, I don't know, beyond 150. It's got to be beyond 150, 160. That will depend on how many wickets they lose. You know, if they don't lose wickets, that is possible and they could get up even higher than that. But if they lose wickets, that's the problem they've got now. Suddenly they lose 3 quick wickets and then you've got to make sure you bat out the overs. So it's always the difficult problem in this format of the game. But, you know, the smart play here would be for one of Weatherly or Dawson. One of them will go on the attack and the other one will just play a little bit more circumspect.
Yeah. Well, no question who was going on the attack there. Dawson's gone and Buttleman gets another wicket. It's his first stumping. It's his second victim. And Simon Harmer just congratulates the young man. I can't see it, but I'm sure the smile is going from there to there. He must have tremendous satisfaction from that as a wickie.
Absolutely. I mean, he can thank Simon Harmer there. He held that ball back. He bowled it a lot slower. As we talked earlier about one of the bowler's attributes in this format of the game is change of pace. And you saw Simon Harmer there hold the ball back, bowl it slower. Dawson came down the wicket, looking to knock it somewhere in the mid-wicket area. He beat him in the flight, and good for the young man. Took the ball, took the bails off. He's 2 or 3 metres down the wicket. Great wicket for Essex. Eagles breaking the partnership again. Another new batsman coming in. So for them, at the moment, it's not looking. You can never be confident you're going to win the game because you never know what's going to happen. But they'd be very happy at this position. 13.4 overs gone, 90 on the board, 4 wickets down.
James Fuller managed to get the most runs for the Hawks last season, 205 at an average of just over 34. But he needs to get going from the get-go. And this one, you think, gets a quick double.
Yeah, I don't know who that is out on the boundary.
Mike Pepper, I think.
Michael Pepper, yeah. He looks a bit deep to me. I mean, that's a long, long boundary to the old hospital side. And he, I'm watching him now. He's walking right to the edge of the boundary. He needs to be in 10 metres or so. Try and stop that too.
Ooh. A chance, an opportunity? First reaction was it might have been a very fleeting chance.
Like the ball might have turned there from Harmer, and that's what he wants in a wicket because he's a big spinner of the ball, and if the ball turns for him, he's a massive danger.
Have you seen the size of Simon Harmer's hands? that index finger that every off spinner loves to show. I mean, he's got massive hands. I mean, reverting to baseball again, they talk about spin rate a lot, and they educate the fans with spin rate, and you can see every single pitch what they've done. Simon Harmer would be great in baseball.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of his big attributes. He has good variation, he has good control, and he has the priceless ability in every form of the game. But you've got to spin the ball hard, you've got to spin the ball big, and then you get some purchase off the wicket sometimes, whereas more ordinary spinners can't. So that's what makes him such a match winner.
Jack Plum back into the attack. Oh, it's gone high. Weatherly has miscued it. Sam Cook cannot get a hand on it though. Difficult one. Cook claimed it. Neesham, Pepper, they were coming in from the outfield there, but Cook put his name on it.
Yeah, that's disappointing for the Eagles. Bit of a life there for the batsman. I mean, that's gone at square leg where the umpire would normally stand, and bisected all the fielders. A long run for Sam Cook from short fine leg.
Plum comes back. I'm not quite sure that Weatherly actually made any contact with that. Buttleman thought he had.
I think Weatherly, well, he favours the sort of down on one knee, sweep over a sort of square mid wicket, square leg. You know, gets down on one knee even to the seamers. That good bit of bowling from Plum. Slower ball, sort of side of the hand, leg cutter type delivery, change of pace again. And I think the young England bowler, Essex Eagles bowlers are, you know, working to a good plan at the moment.
Plum changing the pace. Neesham fires it in.
It'd be interesting. I don't know what is going to be a good score on this wicket. By the way the wicket is playing and the way the batsmen are playing, it's not coming on. The Eagles bowlers using good skills and mixing it up, but you're never quite sure what's going to be a good score. And this certainly doesn't look like a wicket where normally at the Cloudfm County Ground you need to be getting up near 200 because, you know, it's not a big outfield, as we know. It's not big boundaries, but looks like they're going to be short of that.
I seem to remember the last time Hampshire were in town, which is, what, 8 months ago. It was a fairly slow track. And, of course, that was when Hampshire ended the Eagles' 13-month unbeaten run in all competitions with that victory.
Fuller at the crease at the moment. He's quite a big hitting all-rounder. Pace bowler as well. I think he'll be looking to open his shoulders here without a doubt. Hitting towards the Hayes close end, the shorter of the two boundaries here at the Cloudfm County Ground.
Fuller, born in South Africa, grew up in New Zealand though. Goes high with the uppercut. Is anybody going to get near it? No, it's going to drop safe for Hampshire. And there's the couple with the century coming up in 87 balls. And now it's Fuller trying to up the ante a bit in the remaining 5 overs and a ball. Plum drops short and Fuller pounces on it for that 4-ball. Disappointing end for the Essex youngster.
Yeah, it's always, we always used to say when in my era, many years ago, that, you know, in one-day cricket, first and last ball are the two important balls. First ball to set the tone for the over. Last ball, if you've bowled a half-decent over, to finish on a high note. So a single, you'd be happy. So maybe Jack Plum would have been better there. It's easy to say, but, you know, try and fire it up in the block hole, go for the single, obviously. He went for the slower ball. Fuller got a hold of it nicely.
Harmer going to try and tease another wicket out of the opposition. Sliding halt down there. Is that Tendo down there?
That's Tendo. That's 41-year-old, is it? I'm not sure he's 41
No, he's 41 at the end of the month. Give him a chance.
I know, I've been there.
Still several days away from it.
So he's a little bit quicker than me than when I was 40.
That's a perfectly placed sweep. Oh, very good attempt to try and keep it in from Plum.
Yeah, well, that's Weatherly's shot, isn't it? We've seen he doesn't really look for any other shot. He looks to put his foot down the wicket. Seamer, spinner, doesn't really matter. And he looks to target the square leg to mid-wicket area.
Hampshire beginning to put the foot on the accelerator just a bit. Harmer, good fielding off his own bowling for that dot ball. Weatherly now 32 off 26, now 27.
Good bowling from Harmer, getting up right up there. Someone looking to sweep the ball, and using his feet this time, Joe Weatherly, but keeping it up there so he can't get under the ball.
Fuller had his first appearance for Hampshire in that Canterbury match, and now trying to make an impact on this one. Already, of course, played in the colours of Gloucester, of Middlesex. Very, very competent all-rounder. Weatherly again uses his feet. Fuller wants the second. Flom with the forward roll after the dispatch. Make sure that there isn't one, and that over's done. 116 for 4 now, 4 overs left.
And we see there a very typical field for a medium-pace bowler and spin bowler in T20 cricket. No one in front of the wicket, saving one on the leg side. 3 men on the boundary, short fine leg. A couple of men up on the offside, just protecting that leg side and prepared to concede that single every ball on that leg side. Try and protect that leg side, so people hitting across the line, whether it's full, whether it's short. And we see that from a lot of bowlers around the country, not just for the Eagles. That's the sort of go-to, field for a medium pacer.
Jamie Porter back into the mix with his 3rd over. Swung away high by Weatherly, and again, very, very good choice of angle from the young Hawks batsman. He really does enjoy that shot. We've seen that 3-4 times already today.
Well, countless times, and Jamie Porter tried to bowl a slower ball. He's got amazing leg side field. He's got everyone on the boundary on leg side field, long on, deep mid wicket, deep square leg, fine leg, and Weatherly still found the gap down where the scoreboard is with a 1 foot on the ground sweep.
Walter gets the ball back in, but Fuller, quick work between the sticks.
He's exclusively targeting the leg side, so Jamie Porter for the Eagles has got to be a bit smart. I think he's got to try and bowl some balls up in the block hole and change his pace as best he can. Maybe try and get it outside off stump, because if you're going to drag it over the leg side, it might be a little bit more difficult.
He goes full, and the ball is going to just get that leg by, but again, leg side.
Yeah, well, it's the attempted Yorker. It's the right delivery when someone's putting their foot down the wicket, trying to play the sweep, the sort of ramp shot on the leg side. And, Weatherly's had some success with it, 41 runs, 32 balls. Porter, showing he's thinking about it. Obviously you don't want to sort of pitch the ball up on a fullish length where you can just nudge the ball around the corner and use the pace of the ball.
And Harmer's dropping himself back to deep, long off here for Fuller, expecting a different attack. Porter again puts it in the block hole.
It's pretty good bowling. So the Hampshire Hawks are starting to step on the gas a little bit. 2 balls to go in this 17th over. 124 on the board. They'll be looking off the last 3 overs to try and get somewhere near 40 runs, take it up to 160. That's what their aim would be, I'd have thought. To do that, I don't think they can afford to lose too many wickets, because that will trash their momentum.
Porter goes short. Ball just falling short. I think is it Pepper or Neesham? No, it's Neesham out there at deep square.
Well, it doesn't look, I shouldn't say this, it doesn't look like Neesham's going to bowl, unless he's going to bowl the next over and going to bowl the last 2 from one end. And as I explained before, in my book, that's a tough ask if he comes on just to bowl his 2 overs right at the death.
When you would guess Harmer will get his final one. Good fielding from Porter off his own bowling. Pushing the ball around the post. So Porter, 3 overs for 28. Just seeing who is going to step up now. Neesham.
Neesham is coming on, I think.
He is.
He is.
Okay, well, Let's see what you've got.
Well, that obviously is a plan. I mean, I don't think you would be putting that in place unless you've worked that out, and the bowler's happy to do that because, you know, as I say, in my experience, normally you like to bowl at least one over beforehand to get your arms loose, to get the pace of the pitch, you know, just to get warmed up a bit. It's quite a big ask coming on to bowl, but maybe he's done this before. I mean, he's had success with New Zealand and various franchise teams around the world. So maybe he'll take a hat-trick. Maybe prove us wrong.
James Fuller is the first man he's going to bowl at. Fuller 11 off 7 thus far. Neesham just drops a bit short to test him out first up. Yeah, Neesham, you know, the memories immediately go back to that World Cup final, and, well, his batting and his bowling really put to the test. Tested to the utmost there, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Well, this is Weatherly on strike. We know what he's going to do here. He's probably going to be aiming it towards us, Simon, down the fine leg area, get down on one knee. There he goes.
He's gone leg side, and I think he's not hit this far enough. It's a catch. I think that's Jack Plom. And the introduction of Neesham does the trick.
I think it was a slightly slower ball from Neesham, and Joe Weatherly went to his go-to shot. As we've said, he's had success with it, getting down on one knee. He's going for more of a sort of hoik over mid-wicket this time, getting under the ball. Not the longest of boundaries, but not connecting, and going straight down the throat of Jack Plom at deep mid-wicket. So a wicket for Neesham. Another partnership breaking delivery, which is at this stage with 2.5 or 2.4 overs, I think there is to go. Good for the Eagles because it takes the man who's in out and back in the hutch, and another new batsman will come to the crease, and they will have to obviously get on with it straight away.
4 fours for Weatherly in that 42. Now McManus. In fact, it's James Fuller. They crossed, of course, under that one. Under that wicket. And Lewis McManus has got to make impact here. Fairly sharpish, you would think.
Yeah, I'd have thought the smart thing to do would make sure he gets a 1, which should be pretty easy with the way the field's set at the moment. Just give the strike to Fuller, really. He's the one who's been in for a little while. He's your renowned hitter of a ball. So just make sure he gets off strike and gets the other guy down that end.
Job done. Yeah, we mentioned the lights earlier on, and this is, of course, the first sighting, first time they've been used in a T20 game. It's natural daylight. You know, if you didn't look up, you would just think it's normal.
Well, they look like proper lights, don't they?
Well, like you have. You got those in the back garden. Oh, Fuller goes straight. Doesn't get all of it.
I'm not criticising the other lights at all because I was obviously here 2003 or whenever it was when or 2004 when they went up, and they were a revelation. But when you see the old lights compared with these,
yeah.
I mean...
and these are the disco version as well. You get all dancing, all singing.
No, this is the sort of sport version of lights, this one, you know, they're upgrades. And apparently they work off a mobile phone, I understand. You just click them off a mobile phone.
There's an app. I still haven't found it, but... Last ball on Neesham's first over. Again, he dropped short. And again, it's just going to get the single. So 1 for 5 off his first 6 for the New Zealand import. That's just what the captain will have wanted.
Well, that's a fantastic over on the Eagles' behalf. You know, he's bowled an assortment there of short of a length balls of different paces, taking the pace off, hitting the short of a length, and Hawks batsmen have tried to pull him to the mid-wicket area pretty much every ball and not really got hold of it, and only 5 runs ensued. So good over for the Essex Eagles. 12 balls to go, 131. What's an expected score? If it's a good 2 overs, you're looking at 150 odd for the Hampshire Hawks. I think they need that on this ground. Don't think it's a big score in this wicket, but 150 is going to put their bowling under pressure.
Porter going to finish things off from this end. Again, you're talking about the imports in inverted commas, the work that Peter Siddle has done with the likes of Jamie Porter, with the likes of Sam Cook, with Aaron Beard as well. What they've learnt from that guy in particular must be immense and so helpful.
Absolutely. I mean, you want your overseas player to be a positive influence in the dressing room. You want him to perform and give match-winning performances, but you also want him as a role model and a mentor for your young players.
Fuller goes long, very long, and that's a 6 ball. That's the maximum from James Fuller.
Well, that's the first ball the Eagles have put on the tee really for a long time. Fullish, probably an attempted Yorker from Jamie Porter, didn't get it right. He's got to try and get the ball in the block hole now, because anything on a length where Fuller can get on the front foot and pummel the ball straight or towards the hospital side of the ground, I would say mid-wicket, that's what's going to happen.
Goes for the same shot and gets the same outcome. 2 6s from the bat of James Fuller.
Well, that's where you need your skill set, Simon. That's what we talk about. That's where the pressure is, the skill set. You know, you've got to, if you're going to bowl the Yorker, you've got to get it right. You know, a low full toss is a more difficult ball, and Jamie Porter's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to get the ball up in the block hole on the batsman's toes. Not quite got it right, just a fraction short. And of course, it goes straight back over its head. And as we know here at the Cloudfm County Ground, the Hayes Close end, which he's hitting towards, is the shortest boundary on the arena.
Well, that one's gone up, but it hasn't gone high. Nijar is underneath it. Plenty of time to think about this one. And it's a 3-ball trick for Jamie Porter. That's what he'll say. 2 6s to start with, and then the slightly slower ball went skyward. And Nijar, no problems with that one.
Good catch from Nijar. He didn't have to move very much at extra cover to take that skyer, which is always quite difficult. Good bowling from Jamie Porter. He dragged his length back a little bit, took a bit of pace on it, and it looked like Fuller was a little bit hesitant there, if you ask me. He didn't go through with the shot. He held back on the shot, and it went straight up in the air, and that's surprising, you know, with 9 balls remaining. You know, you've got to commit to the shot, and that's a big wicket for the Eagles, because Fuller staying around for the last 9 balls could have been destructive for them.
So the big hitter has been removed. What can the rest of the guys do for the Hawks? Well, Ian Holland may not be known as a big hitter, but he's certainly a very, very good batsman. Already got 2 tons this season. Averaged over 32 in last year's T20 tournament. McManus in for Porter's last ball. Swing and a miss. So Jamie Porter 1 for 42 off his 4. Ian Holland, of course, started in Australia when he earned a Victoria contract thanks to a reality show called Cricket Superstar, where your mate AB selected him as the potential cricketer.
Right.
And got his rookie contract there, and that's where he began, actually, although he was born in Wisconsin, USA, and is indeed an American international now.
That's right. I think we talked about this last year, didn't we? I remember this.
Don't tell everybody. Makes me sound like I've done more prep.
Because I think it came up because he was American, or he's born.
Yeah,
that's correct. Yeah, I remember.
It's just one of those really remarkable life stories that you look at and think, yeah, that could be a film someday. Only for cricket aficionados, maybe. Jack Plum is once again going to be the death ball bowler.
It's quite interesting that Neesham's come on and bowled 1 over, got a wicket, 1 for 5. He's been taken off, and now Plum's come to be the death bowler for the last over. That's a good delivery, right in the block hole. Just one. And what do you give now for 5 more balls like that, Simon?
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
So 146 for 6. The Hampshire Hawks needing a big over to get them up to the 160 mark. I think that's what they would like from here. And the Eagles will settle for the singles, maybe the odd 2, keep it closer to 150. Still, you know, it's still a total you could possibly defend.
That tennis ball bouncer, again, just a single.
Changing his pace, Jack Plum. Slower ball there, which sort of stuck in the wicket halfway down, took the pace right off it. So he's keeping the batsman guessing. When he goes for the Yorker again, which I've already identified, I think's the percentage ball still in this form of the game.
It's in the slot, but it only gets a 1.
He can't get any big hits. No, McManus is a keeper. I'm not sure he's noted for his big hitting. I don't know much about Holland's batting, but as I said, the Eagles will be really happy. 3 balls to go, 3 singles. They'll be delighted with that.
Top ball, or is it a wide? Oh, the arms are flapping from Paul Pollard at the river end.
You know, that's what you don't want as a bowler, especially if it goes to the boundary next ball. Wide. You do not want that at all. But the good bowling performance needs to be finished off here by Jack Plum for the Eagles.
Porter with a despairing dive.
So 150 up for the Hampshire Hawks, which is a defendable total. They've got something to bowl at. It's not a big score on this ground, but, you know, they're in the game.
Two balls left. Well, it's a no ball. Jack Plum is just going to have to be careful here.
Yeah, not finishing strongly here, you know. Started off with 3 singles, then a wide, then a 2, then no balls. Could be costly if these disappear out the park.
Big swing from Holland, but straight to the fielder.
And the ever sprightly Ryan Tenderscarter at deep, long. So Plum going to finish for the Eagles with the last ball, hopefully. Not going to be a no ball or a wide. 154 on the board for the Hawks.
So, last ball from Plum. Oh, it comes through as a slower ball. They're going to try and get 2 off it. Holland halfway up the wicket. It's not going to make any difference though. Good fielding, 155 for 6. 7.8 runs and over. That is the target for the Eagles. Well, I don't, it's a tough ask, Graham. Let's just take a look at the Essex scorecard.
Well, 155, as I said, it's not a massive score in T20 cricket, especially on this ground where the averages would be more up, I would say, in the 180 to 190, 200 even. Fast outfield, small ground, small boundaries. But they've posted that score. It's, you know, so it's a competitive score in as much that the Eagles will have to get a good start, will have to bat well, someone will have to supply a decent innings to get over the line. So the view, I'm sure, in the Hawks dressing room will be, we've got this score, we're going to protect it, we're going to field well, we start well, we get a few wickets, put a bit of pressure on the Eagles, and who knows what's going to happen. Pressure can do a lot of things to players. So it's a good bowling performance by the Eagles. Cook with 2 for 21, Nejan 0 for 23, Porter 1 for 42, Neesham picked up the wicket, and Plom, I think 3 overs 0 for 26, Porter 1 for 42. So they'd settle for 155 for 6 before they started, that's for sure.
So who do you think would be the happier of the two captains?
I think the Eagles will be happier, because I think if you said the Hampshire Hawks are going to go 155 after their 20, you know, would you take that? And they would say yes.
Well, it's going to be a fascinating run chase. 156 is the total for the Eagles. Join us after the break as we discuss a little more about that first innings. Welcome back to the Cloudfm County Ground, where Hampshire Hawks have run up a total of 155. Now, I said to you before the end of that innings, Graham Gooch, who was going to be the happiest skip? You've had time to think about it. What's your decision?
Well, I think Simon Harmer would be the happier, because before the Hawks innings started, you know, on this ground, with the history of this ground, the pitch being good, the short boundaries, the fast outfield, you know, you're looking for scores nearer 200 to be competitive. So he'd be happier. Doesn't mean the Eagles have got an easy job to do. It's not a gimme getting 155, because you know in this game, if you lose wickets early, the pressure's on. So somebody in the Eagles lineup has got to supply a 50-plus score, or 2 people get 40 and that sort of score, then that will make it a little bit more comfortable. So Hawks will think they've got a chance, because they start well, they put pressure on, few early wickets, and then we know what pressure does in these forms of the game. But I thought the Eagles bowlers did a great job. Cook exceptional, Nejar exceptional, Plom I thought handled it pretty well at the end. Porter got a bit of tap in 1 over, but generally I think their bowling plan worked pretty well, and they'd be really happy with that. So now they will be saying in their dressing room, the Eagles, half job done, right? We now got to go out and play sensibly, be aggressive, but don't go reckless, and make sure we, get over the line. If you go 4 down in the first 3 or 4 overs, you're putting yourself under pressure. You can always build it up later, but as we know in this game, strike rates are very important for players, and they tend to play in an ultra aggressive way. But if the Eagles don't get bowled out in 20 overs, they should win the game.
I'm just interested to know who you think is going to be opening the Essex innings, because Will Buttleman comes in for Adam Wheater. Wheater opened that game at Taunton and has opened last season as well. Is that a like-for-like fit? Do we see Buttleman and Wesley opening for the Eagles, you reckon?
I think I put my money on it, yeah, because Buttleman scored 100 for the Eagles' second team the other day against Hampshire, and he opened, and he's been opening. So why wouldn't you put him in first? So I think you're going to see him first. So we're going to see what he's got.
And where do you put Neesham?
Neesham, I think, is more of a middle order player, down the order, 5 or 6. He's a finisher. In one-day cricket generally, you have different types of players, people who set the game up and people who finish the game. So Ryan Tenduscarter, through his long career with the Essex Eagles, has been a finishing type player. He's not been put up the order. There are those sort of players. I can remember in my career playing for England, like Neil Fairbrother comes to mind as a finishing type player. Michael Bevan for Australia. These type of guys are finishing type players, and those type of players handle the pressure well. So they come in chasing 7, 8, 9 and over. That doesn't affect him. They can handle that pressure. They can stay calm. They can stay composed, and they can see their side home. And then you've got some other players who are better, being a bit more aggressive up front when they go in, and they set the tone, they set the platform for the side. So I would expect Buttleman to come in first. A big opportunity for him to show what he's got at this level, whether he can handle the pressure. And don't get me wrong, but it's all about pressure when you step up a grade. Okay, so you're playing in the second team, there's nobody watching or whatever.
Sure.
At this level, everyone's watching to see how you act, how you carry yourself. He's done a good job behind the stumps. He took a catch and got a stump in, which is brilliant for the young man. So I wish him well. Tom Wesley, much more experienced head on him at the other end. So hopefully that makes a good combination for the Eagles.
Just one final question. We've got these wonderful lights on that we keep talking about. Does it make a difference to the way that the ball is going to behave in this final innings? Does that come into the thoughts at all?
I think in modern cricket it does come into the thoughts, because some teams and some players believe that in the evening the moisture on the ground, the dew on the ground that collects, makes the ball skid on the pitch. Yeah. So in the daylight, it might move around a little bit more, grip on the wicket. As soon as that slight sheen gets on a wicket, a little bit of dampness, and the ball gets a little bit damp, the ball doesn't do anything and it skids on. In our day, when I first played one-day cricket under lights at the Sydney Cricket Ground or the Melbourne Cricket Ground, you always batted first, right? Because there's a 2 o'clock start, say, and you bat into the evening, or you play into the evening. You would always bat first, because the sort of plan and the policy was bat in the natural light, and it was more difficult to bat under the lights. I think that's been turned a little bit on its head nowadays. But here at the Cloudfm County Grounds, we've got these brand spanking new, straight out the packet lights.
You love them, don't you? You love them.
It's like being at Wembley, isn't it? I'm sure the England football team at Wembley on Sunday will be happy with these lights.
Well, let's hope the Essex Eagles are going to be happy with these lights this evening. Join us after the ad break when we see how Essex are going to respond to that 156 total. Will Buttleman does get the chance to show what he's about with the bat, as we suspected. The young debutant in this tournament is going to march out, I think, with Tom Wesley. So like for like replacement, Adam Wheater, side strain precluding him from playing this evening. So there is Buttleman. Born and bred in Chelmsford, but been plying his trade with Brentwood Cricket Club over recent years. In fairly fine form, it has to be said. 6 games with the T20 second 11. 288 over 6 innings, over 57. Let's see what he's got now. Chris Wood opening the attack for the Hawks.
Well, it's a big day for the Buttleman family, with one of their own making his debut in T20 cricket. He's acquitted himself very well behind the stumps with the gloves, and now the Eagles will be hoping that he can hang around and make a contribution, which is telling in this match. He's up against a very experienced Chris Wood. Left arm has been around a long time for Hampshire.
Not going to get a run on the board there, or is he? Looking at Graham Lloyd, yeah, leg bite is signalled. Yeah, Buttleman, I think Graham mentioned the T20, ostensibly a second team doubleheader on Monday here. It was more of the Essex side, I think, that were here inevitably than the Hampshire side, but Buttleman raced 202 not out in that one. So he'll feel in good nick right now. Tom Wesley.
Yes, so important that the Eagles get a solid start. Runs on the board, rotate the strike. You've got a contrast in players here. Tom Wesley been around, played test match cricket, been around with Essex for many, many years now. Opened in this form of the game, bats 3 in longer form. Very experienced campaigner. And then you've got the exuberance of youth with Buttleman, who I'm sure is excited, wants to make his mark.
Well, he's been waiting for this a long time. I know you said you were really looking forward to seeing how he was going to do. He made his debut for the first team a couple of years ago against Yorkshire. I think, in fact, before that, he had a half day or so when Wheater broke his thumb. I think it was against Hampshire in 2019. So he came as a late replacement and then had a full outing against Yorkshire, but never in this tournament, never in this competition.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was always your debut's a big debut, you know, a big day for you as a player. So he's got to settle down. He's got to, you know, not do anything rash to start with. Get himself in just a little bit.
Wide ball going down leg side from Wood.
As I said, he's up against a very experienced T20 campaigner, and Wood has been plying his trade for Hampshire in their various guises, the Hampshire Hawks, Hampshire Cricket, Hampshire Royals, wasn't it? I remember
yep.
A few years ago.
Going very short, flying over the head of Buttleman. Yeah, Wood made his first appearance of the summer in that game at Canterbury. Last T20, 6 wickets at 44. But as you say, he's been relied on by the Hampshire side over a number of years now.
Yeah, we revert back to our conversation about left-arm bowlers,
Yeah.
left-arm pace
Yeah,
bowlers.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's probably one of the reasons. He's been a steady performer for them, and he's been an accurate bowler, and he's had success. And being left-arm, he provides variety for the Hampshire captain, James Vince. So, you know, that's what makes him valuable for their team.
Ian Holland is going to get first dibs from the River End. Interesting choice from Vince.
Wow. That's a good stop by McManus, that's for sure. That is one of the widest balls I've seen. It's come out the side of his hand, and he's fired that down the leg side. McManus did well there. It's like goalkeeping stop, saved a certain 4 byes.
Holland had a couple of overs in that Kent game. Wesley staying straight, staying in the V for now. I often wonder with captains, or with teams indeed, whether they set targets for power play or by the end of the power play, which is definitive and then dictates the rest of it. And of course, the total does. But these two don't appear to be opening shoulders too high, too hard at the moment. Good stop from Wood there.
I think you're right. I think different teams have different strategies, and but probably most of them do say that we want to be around about this score at the power play, and hopefully with no more than, I don't know, 1-2 wickets. You know, no one wants to be 4 wickets down, obviously, but you realise there's going to be risk, and you are going to lose the odd wicket.
Wesley goes straight, lovely left arm, follow through for the 4. Yeah, because, you know, just mathematically, you would think Essex would be wanting to go north of 50 by the end of their power play. You know, 8 and over, you'd expect to be ahead of that.
Yeah, I'd say 8 and over is a sort of fairly mean sort of average of an over, you know, for a steady match. So you certainly want to be up that sort of rate, 48, round about that, or 36.
Good comeback from Holland, that Yorker ball.
Good change up there. It's a good shot from Tom Wesley beforehand. Classical straight drive, lofted straight drive. Looking to hit down the ground. You know, Tom is quite, you know, renowned for his leg side play. Sometimes it's got him in trouble in longer form cricket, but you know, he's a devastating player if he gets in.
Well, the bat seemed to send the ball through mid-wicket there, and it ends up going out to mid-off, so not quite what Wesley was looking for.
It's, you know, it's an interesting concept, isn't it? I mean, how the players think about it nowadays. You know, you've got to be looking to hit boundaries, but if you can't get a boundary, you've got to get something out of the ball. And then, I'll let this ball go from Holland.
Well, Buttleman gets off the mark. Breaks to Bagel after 5 balls.
So I was going to say that if you know you're looking to target a boundary every ball, okay, but you don't want to be rash, you don't want to be reckless, and if you can't get the boundary, you've got to make sure you get something out of the ball. So if you pick up, you know, a ball, you only need 1 ball and over. I'm sure I said this last year in commentary. You only need 1 ball out of an over to go for a boundary, and if you add your singles to that, then you're into sort of 8 or 9, 10 maybe runs and over, which is, if you times it out by your 20 overs, that's probably going to be more times than not a winning score.
Sure.
Now, it doesn't work out like that every time, but you don't have to be absolutely reckless and try and hit every ball for 4 and 6. You've got to be a little bit smarter than that.
Brad Wheel is going to get the ball in hand from this Hayes close end. Buttleman showed good pace and aggression in his batting on Monday. Went to 50 off just 34 balls, 100 off 63, so he's certainly got the armoury within his skill set.
Yeah, he's got shots. He's got shots all around the wicket. Just got to stay controlled, be purposeful, and play smart. You know, you don't always have to be the best hitter or batsman in the game, but you've got to be the smartest.
A little bit fortuitous there for Wesley, didn't quite control that, and that skidded away for 4. Outside edge from the club captain. Just working its way through the covers. Looked like it was catchable material.
Well, he's playing that on the leg side, and it's a short of a length ball. He's playing it on the leg side towards the vacant mid-wicket area. He's got a leading edge, and he, as you say, he's fortunate there because the ball has bisected the 2 fielders at square cover or cover point and backward square cover point.
Wesley reverts to his more favoured leg side and gets the outcome he was after.
Well, they've upped the ante now. Tom Wesley, the experienced player. Quite interesting to see how they run between the wickets, Simon, because you've got Tom, who's not noted for being a bit of a, you know, a speed merchant.
Last of the bar, is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm not saying that, but you've got the young man who looks a bit sprightly to me. So I think Tom will be looking to put a few fours away, but he's targeting that leg side and it's well protected at the moment with two men scouting. A typical Wesley shot, very good shot off of the hip, short of a length ball, probably straight. He's worked that nicely through straight mid-wicket, no risk in that shot. And this is what I was saying to you earlier. 3 balls have gone. I think that's 3.
No, it's 4.
Four
it's 4 now.
4, so it's 9 off 4 balls, okay? So, you know, you don't have to do anything rash, if you ask me, for these last 2 balls.
In fact, I think it's 11 off 4. I don't think the scoreboard is updated yet, because that was a 2 off that last one, wasn't it? And that's going to be a single off that one. So I think the scoreboard is just holding at the moment. If I'm correct, that's now 12 with a ball still to go. I get the thumbs up from PP. And scorer down in front of me.
So if it's 12 off 5 balls, so what I'm saying, you've got to be smart as the player here.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything rash now. You've got 12 runs off this over. You know, if he puts the ball on the tee for you or bowls a rank bad ball, then you put it away. If not, you take the single, you move on to the next over, and you take 13 off the over, okay? That might be a slightly old-fashioned way of looking at it, though.
Battleman to face. Oh, he's gone for it. I think he's got away with it, has he? No, he hasn't. He's gone. Caught down on the long leg there. And Battleman, well, the inexperience perhaps showing there from the young debutant, having got the dozen off the over with 1 ball left. He's got a top edge on that.
Well, it's a bouncer from Brad Wheel, and he's gone for that. The ball's outside off stump. He's towed that and got a top edge come toe. Very good catch from Holland down there on the boundary in front of the scoreboard. And that's gone high and wide down there. I think with a ball like that, you know, Will Butterman is going to play the hook shot, which is the right shot to play, but he's not middled it. He's top edged it. Very good catch from Ian Holland. So he goes for 2, so that's a disappointing end for the young man.
Yep, not the impact he was looking to make. I'm sure those at the Checkers in Felsted will not be too happy with that one. Of course, Battleman, an old Felstedian, if that's such a word. You play at Felsted?
I played there. I didn't go to Felsted, but we've had a lot of players who've come from Felsted.
Hit the clock and win the box of champagne?
I think I played a football match there, actually.
Heathen.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, who's the Felstedians I can think of? John Stevenson, Nick Knight, Derek Pringle. There's been some others, or Jason Gallion, who's a teacher there at the moment. Obviously, he came via Lancashire and Notts, but he's at Felsted teaching now. So we've had lots of cricketers.
Strong connection.
Absolutely.
And of course the Felsted school stand facing us. Part of that connection, Michael Pepper gets his first ball from Liam Dawson coming on at the river end. Left armer Dawson didn't take any wickets at Canterbury, but bowled 4 very tidy overs for 28.
He's a conventional type left arm spinner, not particularly tall, so he shouldn't get a lot of bounce, but he bowls it into the pitch quite quickly. I don't think he'll be giving it too much flight in these conditions.
Oh, Pepper's gone. Pepper went for the sweep and has got some sort of edge onto his pad, and quick work from McManus to come round, and Pepper's got a second ball duck.
Well, that's what the Eagles didn't want. Quick wickets, adding to the pressure. Pepper's gone for a big sweep there, and it's difficult to see what's happened, but obviously got an edge onto his front pad. It's bobbed up, and McManus has come round into the offside and silly point, just beyond silly point, taking the catch. Bit of a disaster for the Essex Eagles, but Good start for the Hawks, and this is what we discussed in the break, that a few early wickets puts the pressure on. So huge pressure now for Paul Walter coming to the crease. Left-hander, been a regular in the Essex first team this summer in the longer form of the game. So they're going to have to handle the pressure, him and Wesley. So that puts a whole different, complexion on the score of 155 now, with 2 early wickets. It evens it up hugely. If the Eagles would have got off to a good start, it makes it more comfortable for them. Now they've got to handle this tricky period of how they keep the score moving without receiving any further damage.
Well, Walter came in at 15 for 2 in Taunton. So a similar mindset, you would think. Dawson. And again, we were talking about the responsibility that captains and coaches are giving young players. Paul Walter coming in at 4 now, whereas, previous seasons, what was he, 6, I think, most of last season. Before that, lower down the order than that. So they're showing faith in him to put him in that 4 slot.
Absolutely, and I think they need that faith to be repaid. He's showed up pretty well last year in Championship cricket and has made some good progress this year. But, if people were sort of questioning anything, they would say that some of his scores are in the 30, 40, 50 range, and he's not gone on and made match-winning innings. Well, there's an opportunity in this game for him to do that, and that would not cement his place in the side, but it would show that he's capable of handling the pressure, seeing his team home. So this is a big knock for him here.
Long reach forward, of course, 6'7" or whatever he is. Paul Walter is always going to be able to nullify, you would think, that spin if it's what Dawson is looking for.
Yeah, I mean, he's a tall man. He hits a good drive. He's a big guy, can get to the pitch of the ball, and he's a powerful striker of the ball. I mean, it's not about all the shots. It's about, having the cow to handle the pressure, handling the tight situation, keeping the score moving here, giving the strike to Wesley, Wesley giving it back, hitting the boundary, taking the odd calculated risk to keep the run rate up to match the over so it doesn't get out of hand.
And still building the innings. I mean, again, you talked back to the beginning of T20 and thought it was all crash and bash and, just slam as many hard balls as you could. There's far more technique and structure within the Vitality Blast now than there ever was when it first started. Yeah,
well, they have to play smart, these 2 Essex Eagles batsmen now, because if they lose 2 more wickets now, they're in real trouble.
Chris Wood back with ball in hand. Gets it past Tom Wesley's edge. So
the contest has evened up now, where it was in the Eagles' favour maybe at the start. 150, you'd say, is a fairly average score. That you'd think that the Hawks would have to get lots of wickets to win that game. But the pressure, a bit close. Tom Wesley running to the non-strikers end there. That was a bit closer than I think he would have liked. But, it's all about how handling that pressure, as I say now, being confident, knowing what you're doing, keeping the score moving, being busy, playing the odd big shot, the odd calculated shot, good percentage shot.
Well, it has been a problem defending totals for the Hawks. They've lost, last season they lost by 9 wickets, by 8, by 7, by 6. And then, well, it was a DSL, they lost by another 9 wickets. But it has been a problem defending totals. And this is a good early start. Liam Dawson's introduction has made a difference. That's a slightly lofted drive from the batter, Walter. Is it going to get away for 4? I think it has, judging by the fielder's reaction.
Well, it's an uppish drive, and he's slightly fortunate there. He's bisected the fielders, all in the ring on the offside for Chris Wood, operating from the Hayes close end. He's got his foot down the wicket. He's played a drive, which is his style of play. He's a big man, powerful striker of a ball. got a square cover point, extra cover mid-off, and he's bisected those guys and got it to the boundary, on the longest boundary.
Secure fielding in the covers. Joe Weatherly, Liam Dawson, all very good fielders. Tom Alsop doing his darndest to try and stop that 4 ball.
It's the amazing thing about T20 cricket. The game can change. You know, one ball, you know, 1 over, changes the whole, you know, state of the game.
And that's why the psychological changes is fascinating for me, to see how the players react, both with ball and with bat, to maybe 1, 2 balls, maybe 1 over. They've got to hold on to that process and the thought of what they're trying to set out to do in order to get victory.
Absolutely. You've got to keep composure, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've got to be composed. You've got to be measured and composed and not lose your head.
Good bowling from Chris Wood. Getting plenty of variety in that left arm over action.
Yep, changing the angle, coming round the wicket, bowling a slower ball and foxing Tom Wesley for pace, or lack of pace there. So 5 overs gone, 30 on the board for the Eagles. There's plenty of time left. They need to build a partnership, and then they can build the run rate up.
Looks like Vince is going to change once again. Yes, indeed. So Vince mixing his bowlers up, as Graham mentioned earlier on in commentary. It's a part and parcel of it to keep that variety for a batsman. Wheel changing ends.
And to get the Eagles over the line here, either one of these 2 batsmen, Walter and Wesley, Tenduskarta, Neesham to come, Harmer, someone has got to supply a match-winning knock. Now in T20 cricket, in my opinion, match-winning knocks are 50 and upwards.
Well, indeed, you look back to last season, and it took Essex, I think it was 6 games before anybody got a 50. I think it was Delport and Wheater in that match when they put on 100 for the opening stand.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of hundreds in T20 cricket, but because of the time available and number of balls. But you know, in Test match cricket, 150 to 200 a match-winning score. In one-day cricket, over 100 is probably a match-winning score. In this sort of form of cricket, 50 to 100 are match-winning scores.
Wheel gets that Yorker in once again.
You know, on a different occasion, if you've got 2 players who get between 50 and 100 in a T20, there's a fair chance you're going to get 200 with all the other players chipping in.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's as a strategy. That's the way you should look at it. So these 2 players have got to rebuild a little bit, keep the score moving with singles, try and hit the odd boundary when the ball's in the right, you know, spot for them. Just keep in touch with the scoring rate, not let it get out of hand.
Wheel to Wesley, and thick inside edge from the club captain. Three balls left now. Oh, beg pardon, 4 balls left now in the power play.
The run rate required 8.3, and Essex are striking at 6.4 at the moment. As I say, it's not terminal. The fact that they're behind the rate can be accelerated at any stage.
Walter smacks that one through the covers disdainfully.
Well, you can see there the benefit of being 6'7" tall, can't you? He just stood up and smashed that through the offside. It was not a pitched up ball at all, but he played it with a straight bat off the back foot, rather uppishly, again bisecting the fielders all in the ring because of the power play. But he's found the gap, and it's 4 to the total.
Well, 9 runs off the over, and that's the power play done. 41 on the board. 2 wickets down, of course. So very much still in the mix. Now, the introduction of Mason Crane. The young leggy really has enjoyed his trips to Chelmsford recently. 3 for last season and 3 for the season before as well. I think it was 3 for 24 in 2019, 3 for 18. He took Delport, Wesley and Lawrence's wickets. And had another 3 for in that second team game on Monday as well. Fascinating to see how this one's going to work out.
Yeah, this is the definitive contest, I would say. He's got a left and right hander in, so 1 boundary on one side. In this case, Paul Walter hitting towards us at the in the hospitality boxes near the Hayes Close end is the shortest boundary.
Walter goes long, very long. Need to go up to New London Road to get that one back, I think.
Well, Walter taking the risk, I would say risk, but he's got away with it. He's gone for it first ball, like we saw James Vince go for it first ball of the match. He's not decided he's going to have a look at Mason Crane. He's going to hit towards the short boundary, the Hayes Close end. That's cleared it by about 20 yards, probably into one of the gardens of the Masonettes at Hayes Close. And I don't know whether he's going to try and hit him out the attack, which will be a big blow for the Hampshire Hawks if he does that. But obviously the Hampshire Hawks are going to have men on the boundary, so he's going to have to mix it up. Mason Crane, bowl it quicker, bowl it wider. I'll be interested as an ex-batsman to see now whether he just decides to take one, okay, make it 7, give it over to Wesley, or whether he tries to go for the big hit again.
Well, local legend says that he hit 6 sixes in a club game once. I'm not sure whether it was for Hornchurch, his club, but a man who's with that physical prowess and the skills that he's got, he has the capacity.
Yeah, there's slightly less pressure playing against Hornchurch.
Well, I think, I may have got the club wrong. It might have been Billericay, but it was out that way anyway. Here's Crane with the second ball. Oh, yeah, they're going to look for that single, and it's just as well he's 6'13" or whatever he is, because he had to eat up the ground there to get up the other end.
Yeah, he's a big lad. He's not the paciest between the wickets. There was a bit of confusion there with Wesley wanted the single. He wasn't sure, although it's probably Wesley's call that, the ball going in the old-fashioned way, going behind the wicket.
Behind point, he's left-hander.
I don't know.
I always thought it was just on leg side, between umpire and wicket-keeper, no?
I don't know, we can dispute that. Some players don't
You're
run.
going to win.
Some players are not going to run unless they're going to be safe. I've played with a few of those, that's for sure.
Who were the worst ones that you hated running with? Apart from Sir Geoffrey. But
never name them on there, that's for sure.
Wesley opens up to get that bat through and take the 4.
Well, they're certainly showing him no respect at all, because drops that ball in the length, Mason Crane. Tom Wesley, what we call the slog sweep, down on one leg, targeting the gap down at deep, straightish mid-wicket. But this is what interests me now. We've got, I don't know, 10, 12 runs, or 11 runs? 11 off this over. We don't need to take any undue risks here. Oh, nearly a caught and bowled there. Great effort by Mason Crane.
Fantastic effort by Crane. And he will be disappointed with that, having seen Wesley welter him through Cowshot corner for 4. Almost had that caught and bowled in his grasp. Well, Wesley's not taking his foot off the accelerator, is he?
Well, they're showing him, as I said, no respect, and it looks like a plan. They've targeted him, and they've taken him apart in this one over. Anyway, and that's made the scoring comfortable. They've gone to attack him. They've not let him settle. They're not just seeing what happens and knock him around as a danger man. They've decided to take him on in this first over, and they've won that over.
brought the score rate underneath 8 runs and over.
Yeah, 7.8 score, run rate on the board required 7.8, so you know it's everything to go. It's all about keeping the wickets in hand and just keeping the score moving.
And we talked about this before the game, but you get the feeling Liam Dawson, Mason Crane are going to be the critical bowlers from a Hampshire perspective and indeed from an Essex perspective in this game.
Well, they're 2 international bowlers.
Yep.
Both play for England in limited overs cricket, so they've got some sort of experience there, and that they've been identified as potential international players with futures.
Well,
So
Crane was he England reserve for that Sri Lanka tour, I think, beginning of the year?
I think he possibly was, yeah.
So he's still very much on the radar. We know Dawson is.
I think they look at Dawson as more of an all-round cricketer. He's a handy little batter down at 7 or 8 or wherever. He balances a side, and if you go into the subcontinent, he's someone who could, balance your team and contribute.
Quality performers, as has been proved over many a season. Walter has to cajole that one round the corner. Had to change his timing mid-shot.
Yeah, I don't think he timed that particularly well, Simon, but a man of his strength and height and leverage, he made it race out to the boundary. So, game of cat and mouse against the spinners here. The Eagles, Wesley, got to keep the score moving, take on the odd, acceptable risk. Just make sure they try and see the team home if they can. It's a good shot from Tom Wesley, controlled drive. Take the runs. We always used to say, take the runs they give you. So when the men are back on the boundary, take the runs they give you. Try and target the gaps, try and get the boundary if you can, but otherwise just take the runs that they present you with, where all the gaps are in the field.
.59 for 2 now. Last ball of Dawson's over. Vince just adjusting things minutely between point and third man. Wesley going to push for 2. Walter's going to be there. Well run.
That's very, very good cricket from these 2 Eagles batsmen. Identified the gap there, Tom Wesley, as we talked earlier about all the men on the leg side, the standard field for spinners, everyone on the leg side, and on the boundary just pushed it to mid-wicket and an easy 2. So that's very good cricket. So Wesley moves to 32 off 23 balls. Paul Walter 22 on strike off 16 balls. And I think the Eagles will be looking for Walter, not trying to put pressure on him, but they're looking for Walter to make that score, to make that jump from good contributions to contributions that win you a game.
A game changer. 27 years of age now, Walter, and he's going long again, and he's got the right club out for that one.
Well, Mason Crane standing in the familiar teapot position with his hands on his hips. And that ball, he's bowled that ball. It's short of a length, a little bit wide of off stump. Walter's advanced down the wicket, and he's decided this ball is going. And I don't think he really got all of that ball, Simon, but he got enough of it, and it sailed over Chris Wood's head at long off. And it seems a definite plan from the Eagles is to target Mason Crane.
Well, they've seen what damage he's done to them in recent games. Walter goes again. This time it's going leg. Yeah,
they're definitely going after him. They're they're not really, well, Walter in particular, he's a left-hander hitting to the shorter boundary, admitted, but he's not really looking to push him around. He's looking to, you know, take him on.
Gone over Vince's head, and that one's going to scoot away, is it? No, fielder's round. Good fielding from Fuller.
That's a smart shot from Tom Wesley, I would say.
I just wonder whether, if Mason Crane is going to get some top, whether Vince will look at Darcy Short, who's a different type of spinner, more of a left-arm Chinaman. Wesley goes straight, 6 ball, maximum. It's raining 6s at the moment for the Eagles.
Well, the plan's working at the moment. Both Tom Wesley and Paul Walter are taking him on. He's got 1 point, according to the scoreboard, 1.2, 1.3 overs, 22 on the off his bowling. And they're going after him. And at the moment it's working, and it's putting pressure on the Hawks bowling attack, giving their captain, experienced captain James Vince, something to think about. You know, Mason Crane will be one of his go-to bowlers.
Oh, he's gone though. He's kept it short. Walter has flapped over the top of it. McManus made no mistake on that opportunity, and Crane hits back. Paul Walter's gone.
Well, I have to show my slight little bit of disappointment here. I know the modern player, you know, looks to attack the ball and the strike rates, as we've said. But you're looking at that over, 2 6s off that over. I don't know, with a few singles as well. We'd already put him in his place that over. The Eagles, Wesley and Walter. Don't think there was any need to do that. Run down the wicket, have a big swing at it. Sacrificed his wicket, which has just added more pressure to the Eagles now. I don't think that was smart cricket, to be honest. And I think, you know, someone like Paul Walter needs to learn from that. We'd already got 2 6s off that over. We'd already got the required, more than the required run rate off of that over. Double the required run rate, almost. You just got to play smarter, I have to say. You just got to knock that ball for a single. Last ball of the over. Take those runs, move on to the next over.
9 overs gone. 77 for 3, the Essex score reads, and yes, here comes the Australian. Just call me Mystic Meg.
That's it, Darcy Short. I'm interested to see the left arm wrist spinner. Googly bowler. I was going to say the other thing, but I don't think you're allowed to say that now. The traditional name.
No, you're not.
So he's a left arm wrist spinner who bowls googlies.
Right, okay.
As well.
All right. Always think of Michael Bevan when you think of Australian bowlers of this ilk. Wesley pulls it into the leg side.
Well, it's a short ball from Darcy Short, drags it down, which wrist spinners sometimes do. Tom Wesley's got to be smart now. He's the man in, he's 41. He's the one who's got to be there for the large part of the innings now to see the Eagles home. But
Vince snaffles that one.
Tom Wesley's still playing, you know, ultra aggressively. He's looking to take on every ball.
43 off 28 so far. Make that 44. Of course, Essex don't go to the Aegeus Bowl until, I think, July 16th. In fact, they've got a double header, and James Vince was mentioning it, of course, that there's no home advantage for the first 7 games for Hampshire because of the World Test Championship at the Aegeus, and you wonder how that might affect them. They've got Sussex tomorrow. That's out.
Well, that's the good bit of fielding by the Hawks, and that's not a good bit of cricket by the Eagles. Ryan Tendescarter's really quick between the wickets. Tom Wesley is not the quickest, and he's well short of his ground there. Just a little flick round the corner from Ryan to short, fine leg. Wesley maybe a little bit on his heels, but we said Tom, you know, has been playing brilliantly tonight, but not the quickest between the wickets, and he was well short of his ground. Just the thing the Eagles didn't want, they just lost a wicket, And now we've got two batsmen at the wicket who've not faced, well, hardly faced a ball. Tendusgarter will face one ball, and they've got to start again. So pressure's back on the Eagles, and whereas it was turning their way, the Hampshire Hawks thinks they're in with a chance now, and you never know in this game how it changes round.
Well, as you keep saying, it changes so quickly. In Holland, Deadeye Dick on that occasion.
I mean, it's easy to sit here, and I'm not criticising, but, you know, Paul Walter, as I say, give that away, in my opinion, and then, of course, a silly run out there, 2 wickets, you know, in the space of a few balls, has completely changed the complexion of the game.
Yep.
These two batsmen now, Neesham, who had a great half-century down at Taunton 2 days ago, won the game for the Eagles. Him and Tendusgarter have got to deliver now. They've still got 70-odd runs to score, 76 to win.
Neesham gets off with a 4. I'm not sure he liked that. He's looking at the bottom of his bat, wondering whether that's cracked the bat. But
well, Darcy Schultz bowled a consistent length in this over, and that's pretty much halfway down the wicket, to be honest. He's not landed a few, but he's sort of crudded that through mid-wicket.
Neesham, who, as Graham mentioned, got 53 at Taunton. Got 53, in fact, here in that Monday game, that second team game against Hampshire. Both made it a fairly healthy lick.
Yep, he changed the game. I think his 53 came off 26 balls, was it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
What, this one here? Or
No,
the one
no,
at
Taunton.
At Taunton, I think it was
something, 20-odd balls anyway.
25, I think.
25 balls, yeah. He changed the game for the Eagles.
Yeah.
But these two players, both experienced, both internationals. Ryan Tendusgarter played many years for Holland, very successfully. I was one of the coaching staff for England when he scored 100 against England out in the World Cup, or was it wouldn't have been the T20 World Cup, the World Cup in India, you know, maybe a decade ago or close to a decade ago. You know, he's a very astute performer. He's going to need to be tonight.
Into the second half of the Eagles' innings. Required rate now 7.2.
So the run rate's not a problem, but it's the wickets is the issue for the Eagles.
McManus thought he had him there. It's been given as a wide by Lloyd from this end, but Paul Pollard not interested in the stumping call at the other. Dawson giving nothing, is he?
No,
He's firing it in.
He bowls it very flat, doesn't give it any air, just pushes it through. So he just puts it through short of a length and says to the batsman, well, you decide how you're going to try and score off of me. But Tendusgarter's noted as a batsman who is very measured, very controlled, gets himself in, knocks the ball around generally, very quick between the wickets, and then tries to accelerate. He can strike a big ball and a big shot over long on, mid-wicket, all round the wicket. And as I alluded to earlier, he's a bit of a finisher in the game, and he's going to need to be for the Eagles here, because the Eagles also have got quite a long tail. You've got Simon Harmer coming in next, and then you're down to the bowlers then. Nija can bat. Obviously, he bats high up in the second team.
Reverse sweep ball out from Neesham early on.
Well, that's the modern T20 player. That's the way they play.
Yep.
You know, they play the array of shots, and they're not shy at playing these shots.
Looking for 2 to deciding the better of it on the arm of Fuller.
See, the interesting thing for me there, Simon, with Jimmy Neesham there playing that reverse sweep to Dawson, that's the first ball he's received from him. And he's probably never, ever received a ball from him, ever, in his career.
Well, he did play for Derby and Kent at various times, so I don't know whether he has done, but
You might be right.
certainly in this inning, you would think you would have a look at something as...
Well, I would.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm a bit old-fashioned, obviously. I'd have
Did
a
you
look.
ever play a reverse sweep?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, many
with
times.
That huge lump of
Many times.
railway sleeper that you used to bat with?
Many times. But I would adopt the sort of method of I would look at a few balls first and back myself to catch up later, if you see what I mean. You know. But the modern player, you know, they go for it straight away without even looking at it. We saw that with James Vince from the very first ball of the match. Run down the wicket and smashed it. You know, so that's the way they think now. So
there's no getting in from that point of view, is there?
no, you get yourself in when you walk out. Actually, walk out to bat.
Mason Crane switching ends, but being summarily dispatched into what used to be the hospital. It was anything but a hospital ball, but Neesham just flicking that one over the leg side.
Well, that was nonchalant, wasn't it? Mason Crane, I don't know, pitching around about middle stump, and Jimmy Neesham just flicked that ball over square leg for four, over the long boundary. Long boundary on that side of the ground, the hospital side, and it's gone over the stand into the apartments now that have replaced the old Chelmsford and Essex Hospital. I think I'm right in saying that.
That's right.
And I know it quite well because if you got hit on the finger and you needed an X-ray, you used
where
to
you
walk
went.
around the ground and go into
They
the
had a
hospital.
gate, didn't they?
Walk around the ground and have an X-ray for you over there.
Didn't they have a gate that took you through?
Well,
do I remember?
I think we got to know all the
Back in the day?
staff quite well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Crane just causing a little bit of consternation in the mind of Ryan Tenduscarter there.
No, on the board, 2.4 overs, 1 for 38. But, you know, in T20 cricket, you can make a comeback and it's about wickets taken. So
7 off this over so far.
Well, I'm still of the opinion that if the Eagles bat out the overs, they will win the game.
Yeah.
Here. I can see the only way they should lose the game is if they get bowled out or it gets down to the last two batsmen or something like that. As long as they've got wickets in hand and they can bat the overs out, they should be victorious. Well, Mason Crane bowling the googly there to Tenduscarter. He's getting him in a little bit of a tangle there. He thinks that that had a real chance.
Well,
umpire Paul Pollard didn't agree, fortunately for Ryan Tenduscarter. But good finish to that over for Mason Crane.
A comeback from Crane, just giving up the 7 runs in his 3rd over. So 62 required to win by the Eagles. 8 overs remaining. Looks like Brad Wheel is going to be back into the attack. South African ball over by Dale Benkenstein, former head coach of Hampshire. You must have played against him a few times, I would think.
No, I think he was a little bit after me. But
Was he?
I met him up when I was coaching up at Durham. He played for Durham for quite a few years.
Right.
And was very, very successful.
Wheel to Neesham. Kiwi puts his foot firmly down the wicket and flashes it through the covers.
He's certainly a sweet strike of the ball, Jimmy Neesham. Moved on to 14 effortlessly of 8 balls. And the Eagles will be hoping he has a slightly extended stay at the crease.
I was talking to him earlier. I don't know whether you heard the interview, but I asked him what the nicknames were for him, and apparently Tom Wesley is trying to call him Ed because he reckons he's got a big head. I said that's a bit harsh when you've only been in the job for a week, but okay. He's good-humoured about it. Of course he was. That's what the club captain is trying to get him nicknamed.
Pretty average name, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
The trouble is, with nicknames, you can't rile against it, because if you rile against it, it's going to stick with you. That's for sure.
Remember, there was a rugby player called Mellon for the size of his head, but
yes,
that's the needs a bit more work, I would suggest. Tender Scarter, delicate slide through the slip cordon area.
Yep, ball bouncing there from Brad Will, outside off stump, hitting the pitch. And you see a lot of bowlers from the southern hemisphere, South Africa, Australia. They really hit the pitch with the ball because, you know, the ball don't swing, don't get much purchase unless you really hit the pitch with it hard.
Oh, Neesham has sent that over the pavilion. That is a huge 6, and it was effortless. Well, it hasn't gone over the pavilion, but right up the steps.
Yeah, it's a good strike, that. It's not a bouncer at all, or even really a short ball. He's short of a length. He's swiveled on that, and he's found the middle of the bat, and that's bounced off in front of the pavilion, the glass in front of the bar area.
Century up in 82 balls for the Eagles.
And a smart play from Neesham.
And that's what you were saying Paul Walter should have done.
Well, it's hit the 6, and then don't take anything reckless next ball, just get a 1. These two experienced players should know, there's just over 7 overs remaining in the Eagles' innings. And if they bat those 7 overs, they should be able to get the runs. It's only wickets that's going to cost the Eagles. So they've got to play smart.
Final ball of the 13th. Tender Scarter quick to swivel on that one, but he's only going to pick up the single. So 12 runs off that Brad Wheel over. 7 overs remaining. 50 runs left from an Essex Eagles perspective.
Yes, and I remember from my playing era and coaching era, the players always used to go by the Duckworth-Lewis score.
Yep.
Okay, so the Duckworth-Lewis says Essex should be 97, and they're 106. So you're in front of the Duckworth-Lewis, which was always quite a good indication of where you need to be. Now, obviously, if the Eagles lost a wicket, the Duckworth-Lewis would go up quite a lot. And but that was always when the captain was handed the Duckworth-Lewis sheet, which gives the run rate.
Crane bowling his final over.
That's what they always used to use as their sort of guide. Tender Scarter trying a reverse sweep there. I don't often see him doing that.
Well, there's a man at backward point here that he gets a top edge on it. Like that. Well, it was just going to happen, wasn't it?
Well, I must admit, Ryan Tender Scarter looks a little bit out of sorts there. He's got 3 runs off 11 balls. He's tried to bash that down the wicket some direction. I'm not really sure whether it's extra cover or long off, but he's got a thick outside edge and it's just looped up to backward point. The simplest of catches for Chris Wood. So this is going to be a tight contest, Simon, I think. We've got Simon Harmer, the captain of the Eagles, coming to the crease now. He's a handy player, experienced player. His runs won the T20 final in 2019. He came in when the Eagles were struggling, and he provided the winning knock really to see them home. And they're going to need that here. They're going to need 20 odd from him, that's for sure, because there's a lot of inexperience after that. The bowlers, Poulter, Cook, tail enders, Plom, Neejar can bat a bit. He's bats up the order in the Essex second team.
Well, of course, it was Harmer and Neesham that came together to secure that victory against Somerset on Wednesday. Harmer 16 off 10 on that occasion, but it was a vital 16 in terms of the momentum of the game.
Well, it's going to be needed here. 6.5 overs remaining. Still 49 runs to win, so, you know, it's no pushover. Run rate edging up towards 7.5, 8 and over here. It's going to need to be smart play.
Lovely shot to get off the mark with from Harmer. Stylish backward cut. I am just going to forewarn you, Graham, that we're going to ask you to pick the Woodland Group Eagle of the match later on. So you might, in the next 6 overs or so, might want to give that a little bit of thought. If you wouldn't mind, as Mason Crane comes in.
Okay, well, we'll see who wins the game. For starters.
But it is the Eagle of the match. We will stress that.
Well, we'll see who wins the game, because
yeah,
obviously if the Eagles get over the line, that's going to have a big bearing on the potential MOM. Sam Cook obviously did a brilliant bowling job for the Eagles. But it's going to be a tense finish here.
Looks like it, doesn't it? 6 overs left.
And you think that Neesham, you know, as the experienced international performer here, and Simon Harmer obviously has played for South Africa as well, you would think that he would have to be at the crease at the end here for the Eagles to get across the line. They need 47 to win off 6 overs, is it? If I think I'm right.
Yep.
6 overs.
Yep.
So
7.6 and over. Crane's 4 overs are done. And Liam Dawson is going to come on now for his final. 6 balls.
See whether they're going to try and target Dawson here. He's bowling at the Hayes close end, which is the shorter boundary end. I'm sorry to labour the point about being smart cricketers and everything, but you know, if you get 1 a ball here, you know, you're going to go really close. Okay, 6 and over. You know, you're going to be a few short, so you only need one over to go, each over to go for more than 1 each ball. As long as you keep the score ticking with the odd boundary, the odd 2, the odd 3, whatever, you're going to be very close.
Yep.
The danger thing for the Essex Eagles is losing wickets. You've got to make sure even if they can't get boundaries away here, they keep the score ticking over, so it takes it deep into the game. I don't like the scoreboard at the moment if you're an Essex Eagle.
Oh, half Nelson. Well, it won't be for long. Not if Neesham's got anything to do with it.
It's a quality shot from an international player. Liam Dawson just dropping short slightly, and the technique there. Picks up the length so quickly, Jimmy Neesham. Rocks back, and delivers a violent pull towards straight mid-wicket. No risk at all.
Again, Neesham swings through, not with quite the same effect, and half a bat shot inside edge.
Yeah, good bowling from Liam Dawson though, putting the ball right up in the block hole, so Neesham couldn't get under the ball with his short boundary, because a miss hit can go for 6 here at the Hayes close end. Done a good job, Dawson.
Yep.
His bowling figures.
Yep, 1 for 15.
Done a brilliant job.
Everything that his captain will have asked from him. Interesting to see, isn't it, how this is going to play out now with both of the premier spinners done. Whether he brings Darcy Short back in, how he brings his pacemen back in.
Yes, you're right, he's brought him back in. It's a bit of a gamble, maybe a good gamble, because I think James Vince will know that they're going to have to target one of the overs. You know, they're not just going to They do want to keep the score moving, like I said, but they will try and target one of the overs to take the pressure off. And, you know, Darcy Short, you know, he's a little bit unpredictable, and I'm sure he's not quite sure where the ball's going all the time. So it's a little bit difficult.
Harmer pushing for 2.
Easy
Going to get it easily.
It's good running.
And that's what you were saying. If you pick up the odd 2, add it to singles, and that's it, all that you need, 7.5.
You're on the over rate. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that's going to happen all the time, because you
No.
are going to hit the odd boundary, and you're going to go for the odd boundary, but you've got to make sure you keep getting those singles. You know, your enemy is your dot balls.
Yeah.
And wickets are the enemy, because it's not only breaking the rhythm of the batting, but it's a dot ball as well.
Well, it's more the wickets, isn't it? Because you can cover up for dot balls. You can replace the runs, you know, with a bigger hit further into the over. But half the side out at the moment for 120. 35, 36 left now. Three very experienced players there, both batsmen for Essex internationals. Short, of course, an Australian international. Oh, he's gone. Darcy Short has done it. What a master stroke from James Vince to bring the Australian back in. And he's taken the big one, the big fish. Jimmy Neesham has gone.
Well, that's a big wicket for the Hawks. As I said, unpredictable. Darcy Short, not a particularly good delivery, short and wide. Neesham's hit it like a tracer, but he's put the ball in the air. Fantastic catch by James Vince, I think that is. And that could be a game changer for the Hawks. Essex's ace batsman leaves the arena, having scored 28 off 16 balls, and he was the one that would have possibly seen the Eagles home. Now the pressure's really on. The responsibility falls on Simon Harmer, the captain, Aaron Neja, who can bat a bit. It's not an impossible task. They've still got a good chance, but the pressure's going to come on now. And as I said, Short, not a particularly predictable bowler, not quite sure where it's going, wide, and it's amazing in this sort of cricket where particularly poor balls sometimes gets wicket. Wide and short and wide, and he just laced it straight to extra cover on the ring, on the boundary edge, not the boundary edge, but the inner circle ring. So pressure's on now. It's going to go right to the wire, this one.
Nijar facing Short. No problem getting that one away.
And we're going to see what the Essex tail, the young batsman down the order, Aaron Neja, who's played a year of this form of cricket, Jack Plom, Sam Cook, Jamie Porter maybe, whether they're going to have the character and the nous and the resilience to see Essex through here. So it's a good fight back from the Hampshire Hawks, you have to say. It's not a particularly big score to defend, as we said. They have a chance if they take wickets, and that's the way it's panning out at the moment. So it's who wants it more, who's got the character to see it home. And the run rate has accelerated quite a lot now. 35, 8.8, 4 overs left. The Eagles need one big over really to take the pressure off. So they can't afford to, well, they need to score, as I said, keep scoring off the balls to make sure they get singles. So the over 8 don't go, or the run rate doesn't go up to over 10s. But they also need to have the big shot as well. They're going to be looking, really needing potentially, well, one boundary and over at least.
Chris Wood back into the attack with his third over.
Experienced Chris Wood as well, bowled 2 overs, 7 runs. He's been around a lot. And I would suspect Darcy Short with 2 overs, 1 for 11, he'll be continuing. Without doubt.
Yeah. Two dot balls from the left armour.
It's good bowling for Wood, isn't it? He's just putting it on a length. Dead straight on a length, and he's saying to Adrian Nija, well, I'm not going to give you anything easy to hit. I'm not going to bowl variation. I'm just going to hit a heavy length straight, and you're the one who's going to have to take the chance.
Goes short, Nija pulls. It's going to drop short of the two fielders.
He's slightly fortunate there on Nija. He didn't get hold of that. He spliced it, and the ball's just dropped where the bowler would be, really, just beyond where the bowler is. If he'd have hit that a bit better, he might have ended up in long on's throat, down long on's throat. I think it's going to fall really to Simon Harmer here to be the aggressor. He's going to have to decide how he's going to take on Chris Wood.
3 men out on the leg side boundary. Harmer goes offside, but there's a sweeper there. Fuller doesn't look like he's going to get any action with the ball this evening.
It's going to be a tense finish.
Feels like it, doesn't it?
Oh, no, it is, that makes the game exciting,
Yeah.
doesn't it? The Eagles were playing themselves into a strong position, but it can change very quickly.
Wood coming round the wicket.
And that one crucial over, Paul Walter, or not over, is in 2 separate overs, but consecutively, Paul Walter running down the wicket, having a big swing when we've already hit 2 sixes off that over. And then Ryan Tenduscarter calling Tom Wesley for the single. He was run out by 1.5 meters or whatever. It's that could prove to be the decisive factor.
Ajar's gone. Wood bounces him and gets the result and reaction that he was after. Ajar caught down at long leg, and Essex Eagles have shipped another wicket. Good work from Hampshire. Just see how short Wood put that, coming round the wicket at the left-handed batsman. And Ian Holland in the right place at the right time, making a good catch.
Well, Aaron Nija a little bit unlucky there. It was a bumper from Chris Wood, which is a fair ball in this form of cricket. We've talked about variation all night. He's hooked it, he's hit it quite well, but because of the angle, left arm around the wicket, it's very leg side, that ball. In cricketing parlance, he's helped it on round the corner. He's hit it quite well. It's gone straight down fine leg's throat. So that's another nail in the Essex Eagles coffin here, and something special is going to have to happen from the captain, not Harmer, I think, here to get Essex close. They need 33 off 3 overs, so the run rate's jumped up immensely now to 11 and over. And Simon Harmer's going to have to take the risk. He's going to have to take on Darcy Short, in my opinion, in this over towards the river. Tom Pearce down the river, if he can get it, because I think Wood's got one more over. He's going to be difficult to hit. I think he's got to take the risk here as a senior player. At the moment, just keeps finding the fielder. Good shot, good strike from Simon Harmer, but straight to the fielder at deep square leg. And now we've got the left-handed Plum, is it?
Yep, Jack Plum hit that winning 6 at Taunton on Wednesday. It's a longer form maybe that he's going to be required for this evening. There's another 16 balls. This target edging up now is exactly 2 runs and 2 runs a ball. Oh, that was tough from Darcy Short. Thought he'd parried that. Oh, and I think Harmer's gone. Harmer trying to make a 2 of it. had to roll the dice, he knew that. And though the caught and bowled was shelled, it's unfair to say shelled, parried by Darcy Short, the Essex Eagles captain has been run out.
Well, it's an amazing bit of cricket all round, really. Mason Crane doing the fielding, throwing the stumps down at the bowler's end. Jack Plom hitting a rocket back at Darcy Short, him parrying it, going down to long off. Harmer probably took the chance of coming back for 2, which is probably the right thing. Brilliant throw from Mason Crane, took out the stumps and he's short of his ground. So looks very, very tough now for the Essex Eagles to get over the line. Harmer 12, run out by Mason Crane. We've got Plom at the crease, who looks like he can strike a good ball. Sam Cook at the other end. And it's a tall order now. 30 runs off 14 deliveries.
Well, there's 6 of them.
Oh, that's a good strike from Jack Plom. Wow, that's a proper cricket shot, that.
Oh, yeah.
Proper shot.
And I tell you what, the 600 selected members here thoroughly enjoyed that. It was a relief.
Well, he just
after that
eased
shot.
that over the long off boundary. He struck it well. There was nothing reckless or about that shot. It's a really controlled shot and perfectly struck. Gives them a glimmer of hope in these last 2 overs. 23.
23 off 12.
If Plom can strike it like that, he's going to be up against Chris Wood in his last over. Has bowled 3 overs, 1 for 9. So I don't know if they could get it down to, I don't know, 12 off the last over. Who knows in these games? You just never know. But I think the Eagles will be kicking themselves if they lose this game, because they had it under control at one stage.
Well, Wood coming round the wicket once again to a left-handed batsman. This time it's Plom. Just looking at the field set. He's kept it predominantly offside. There are a mid-wicket and a deep square leg patrolling the boundary, and a deep long on. Not sure what the hold up is. Graham Lloyd's not happy with something.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised here if Chris Wood tries Plom with a short ball. He got success against Nijar with it. I think it's worth a gamble.
Plom scampers through for the single. Didn't quite know where that one had gone.
Didn't guess that right, did I? It's a Yorker.
Oh, it's
There
got
we go.
Plom, 1 run out by Crane. Hopefully the scoreboard's wrong.
I'm not sure what Sam Cook's big hitting qualities are.
No.
I've seen him in championship cricket improve his batting this year. Been quite difficult to remove from the wicket. Got in behind the ball and been obdurate, but he's going to need to land the ball in Howard Hayes close here if the Eagles are going to get close.
He swings through, but he's not going to pick up a boundary for it. Scoreboard having a little bit of a meltdown at the moment. Just running through its processes.
Technical glitch is the term, isn't it?
Yeah, apparently. 133 for 8 is the confirmed score now. Again, Plom drives, but singles are just no good to Essex right now. Be fascinating to see whether Vince stays with Short for that final over if they want 2024.
Well, the Eagles are going to need some runs off of these last 3 balls from Wood, and you can see why Wood's in the Hawks side. You know, he's a canny performer. He can get the ball in the block hole. His left arm, he's bowling round the wicket to the left-handed Plom. and round the wicket as well to the right hand. He's going to try and spear the ball in at the stumps, base of the stumps, and that's why he's still playing this form of the game, has been playing for the Hawks for a long time.
Dot ball, 137 for 8, the scoreboard now reads. And there are 8 balls left.
Well, one of these 2 balls, Simon, has got to go for a boundary. If they don't go for a boundary, I don't think the Eagles will be able to manage that off the last over. If they can get a boundary, a 4 or a 6, take it down to a 13, 14, there's always a chance.
Cook's got to go for the second. Gets the dive out. Gets the 2. 17 required. 7 balls left.
Well, I would say here, last ball, that they need a 2 or a 4 or a 6. Because I think you need Plum on strike for the last over. Because he looks like he can hit a big ball. Got to run 2 here. Come on.
Cook just gets the engine. Well, the engine took a while to turn that corner. Yeah. He lost his bat, he's lost his wicket, the finger's gone up. Well, Plum is on strike, but there is only 1 wicket left now. And Essex Eagles are going to require 16, if my maths is right.
Well, Sam Cook had to take the second run on, was quite right to get Plum on strike. He's not the quickest between the wickets, and good bit of fielding on the boundary. I'm not sure who threw that in, but it was an excellent piece of fielding. He had to take the 2 on, they had to take on the fielder. And it's all come down to the last over, 16. That's a big ask for a young man like Jack Plum, but we've seen he's hit the 6 in the previous over, straight over the bowler's head into the side screen, so he's going to have to do that probably a couple of times in this innings, or this over. I'm not sure who's going to bowl it.
I think it's Brad Wheel.
Brad Wheel's going to bowl it, so...
I didn't think he'd risk putting short in there. So yeah, 16 runs required to win for the Eagles. The Hawks just need 1 wicket, or less than that, obviously. The South African back with the ball in his hand, and Hampshire's fate
and
also.
The added issue that the Eagles have got is that Plum has to stay on strike. I cannot see Jamie Porter, for all his batting prowess, hitting 6s.
Well, the ball skews away through point. Chris Wood's trying to get there and does really well. Really good. In fact, I beg your pardon, it was
Fuller.
It was Fuller. Excellent fielding from James Fuller. Wheel to Plum. He's gone, and the match is gone. Hampshire Hawks have won this by 13 runs, and the Essex Eagles will be kicking themselves, having at least twice been in what looked like control of the innings and the target. And it's all fallen away.
Yeah, disappointing end for the Essex Eagle. It promised so much. They got a reasonable start. After losing a couple of early wickets, they consolidated with Wesley and Paul Walter. They played themselves into a reasonably strong position, and then after that hiccup, then Neesham came in, played really well, and they were looking strong. They were looking that if they batted the overs and went all the way through to the end without getting bowled out, they'd have a good chance of winning. And they fell away, lost the wickets, and that cost them the game.
Well, it remains for me to ask you who your Woodland Group Eagle of the day is. It's a losing eagle, as it turns out. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think Sam Cook, with his 4 overs, 2 for 21, takes the prize. I would like to have given it for an Eagles batsman to see the team home and win the game, but it was not to be. So Sam Cook is my man of the match.
Excellent. Okay, well, hopefully we'll have a chat with Sam later on. From an Eagles perspective, Graham, we've talked so much about getting out of the blocks quickly, and of course last season it took 7 games before they got a victory. The season before, I think there was 1 win in the first 5, 2 in the first 10, and then it all turned around, as we know, and where that led in 2019. But this is a stumble, nothing more than that. We've got plenty of games to go, of course we know that, but it just halts that momentum and what maybe the confidence they got from Taunton.
I think they would be disappointed because they had this game for the winning. They bowled well, they bowled themselves into a position to win the game. A long way through the game, they had control of the game with the partnerships they were putting together, and it looked like, you know, as long as they didn't lose wickets and get bowled out, they could see victory here. So I think they would be disappointed. As I've said all the way through this, you don't have to be the best team, the best batsman, best bowler. You have to be the smartest. And I think on occasions, the Eagles did not play the smart cricket. You know, the 2 wickets in not consecutive balls, but in a period of balls when Walter was out, and the run out of Tom Westley changed the game for the Eagles. And then Neesham, who's a player who could get them home single-handedly. So, you know, that's what cost them the game. So it's a game that got away.
Well, disappointment for Essex Eagles fans, no question about that. We will hopefully have a chat with our player of the match shortly, but after this ad break. Join us then. Well, That was disappointing for all Essex Eagles fans. Congratulations to Hampshire Hawks for getting that victory. We're joined by our Woodland Group Eagle of the day, Sam Cook. Sam, disappointment. You must have felt like you had it there and then it just fell away.
Yeah, I think we started pretty well in the power play. Obviously, chasing sort of a low score there. We thought we'd set a good platform, and yeah, as I say, frustrating to lose wickets at regular intervals. But I think credit to Hampshire, they bowled well and they put us under the pressure in the field. They fielded well, some good run outs, and yeah, obviously disappointing to come up short there.
From the bowler's cauldron, were you happy with 155 for 6?
Yeah, I think at Chelmsford you're always happy with a score like that. I think typically past score here would be sort of more around 180, and the pitch was quite slow, a little bit too paced. I think we bowled well, and at the halfway stage we'd have been happy and confident and to have chased that down. And I think still in hindsight we'd probably been pleased with that 150. Obviously probably a bit disappointed the way we batted there, and I think in hindsight we'd have been happy chasing that again and back ourselves in the future to do that.
For you personally, it's good experience that maybe you haven't had Vitality Blast experience before. 3 for 14 at Taunton, 2 for 28 today or whatever it was. You feel like you're finding your knack, finding your technique for this tournament?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've had quite an inexperienced bowling unit over the last few years. Obviously a lot of young lads coming through. We've lost obviously over the years the likes of Napes, Dave Masters, Rav, who've played an awful lot of T20 cricket, so the exposure hasn't really been there for the youngsters, and we've sort of got a very young bowling attack now that hasn't played a lot of T20 cricket. So I think we've worked really hard on it this winter as a group. We know we've been below par sort of as a bowling unit the last few years, so we've really put some hard time and effort in, and like we say, just the more games we play, I think we're getting better with every game and building confidence, and obviously experiencing different situations, different pitches, so we're only learning and improving. So I think from a bowling point of view we've probably been pleased with how we started, but we've got to keep that momentum going forward and just keep learning with every game.
Well, the way this tournament is structured, of course, you don't have much time off, so you're back here, I think Tuesday, isn't it, for Sussex? So yeah, a great chance to get back on the horse.
Of course, yeah, we're away at Glamorgan on Sunday, so travel down there tomorrow, and then, yeah, like you said, the games come thick and fast, so we can't dwell on this defeat too long. We've got to get back on it and be ready to go on Sunday, and I'm sure we will. I think lads in the dressing room, obviously we know where we've gone wrong there, so we've got to put that to bed and move on and be ready to go again on Sunday.
Live, learn and move on. Let's hope it's for victory on Sunday. Thanks once again for being our Woodland Group Eagle of the day, Sam Cook. That's it from us. Thanks to Sam for coming to join us so quickly after that very disappointing defeat. But let's hope they can turn things around for the trip down to South Wales at the weekend, and then of course join us back here next Tuesday for that game against Sussex. Big thanks to Graham Gooch for his company and his expertise and experience this evening. From me, Simon Ward, thanks for your company. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.